Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Week 3 of the National Football League season. Two longtime rivals get together, both with 1-1 records this year. It's the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Chicago Bears. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the NFL on Fox. I'm Kenny Albert along with Brian Baldinger. Vikings won their opener here against Dallas 2 weeks ago, went up to Philadelphia, lost on Monday night. They've had a short week, but despite the loss to the Eagles, Brian, Coach Mike Tice feels his club gained confidence on Monday.
Yeah, because he thought that he really competed. The team competed well against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the barometer of the NFC over the last 3 years. And so he likes the way they're playing right now. He thinks they're a more confident team than when they started 6-0 a year ago, and for good reason. I mean, the quarterback, Dante Culpepper, is playing the best football of his life right now. He's completing 77% of his passes. He's making good decisions with the football. And I think the next step right now is to get the ball to Randy Moss deep. His longest completion right now, the longest reception from Moss is only 22 yards. But against a depleted Chicago Bears secondary, it's time to get Randy Moss deep down the field and light this crowd up the way he often does.
Bears without 3 or 4 starters in that secondary, and when Lovie Smith was hired back in January, he said the number one priority, beat the Green Bay Packers. Well, the Bears did just that last Sunday at Lambeau. Can they make it 2 in a row on the road against the division rival today?
It's going to be tough, really tough, Kenny, because they're without Mike Brown, their free safety. They're without Brian Urlacher, the heartbeat of this football team. And so the way to beat the Vikings today is to play keep away from Moss and Culpepper. And the way you do that is with Thomas Jones, the running back. He did it last week up at Lambeau Field, had 152 yards rushing. Look for Thomas Jones to get the ball 25 or 30 times today behind an offensive line that has been rebuilt with the additions of key free agents. Guys like John Tate at right tackle, comes from a winning program. Reuben Brown in Buffalo, 8-time Pro Bowler, to go with Olin Kreutz. This offensive line has got to control this game today for the Bears to have a chance at an upset.
Well, Brian, who will put up big numbers for the Vikings and the Bears? There is still time to select your singular fantasy football team for this week. Text message 63504 on your singular wireless phone or vote on foxsports.com.
I'm going for the game ball today. So however you want to do it.
You're watching Fox Sports.
And he spoke moments ago with Vikings head coach Mike Tice.
Thanks, guys. Mike, disappointing loss the other night to the Philadelphia Eagles. How did your team respond this week?
Well, I felt like when we got on that airplane, we talked the game through as coaches Tuesday, and guys came back to work Wednesday in full pads. It seemed like there was a little bit more of a belief, a little bit more of a focus in what they can accomplish. And certainly as a football team, I think we grew up some Monday night. Tough loss against a very good football team. But we got to learn from that and move on and play solid football today.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck today. Guys?
Thanks very much, Jay. Vikings with a record of 1-1. Beat Dallas, lost in Philadelphia. Bears have won the toss. Chicago waived their kick returner, Darryl Jones, earlier this week. So the rookie out of Fresno State, Bernard Berrien, back deep, awaiting Aaron Elling's kickoff. And we are underway in Minneapolis. Short kick taken by Jason McKee, the backup fullback. And McKee brings it out to the 37-yard line. Good starting field position for the Bears following the 15-yard return by McKee. Rex Grossman makes his 6th NFL start. His first start last December was against the Vikings, and the Bears won the game down at Soldier Field. Steve Edwards starting at right guard for the injured Mike Gandy. Thomas Jones along with Brian Johnson. Bears wide receivers caught only 3 passes last week in the win over Green Bay, and Thomas Jones takes the handoff. On short gain, Keith Newman made the tackle. For the Vikings, defensively, Kevin Williams with 10.5 sacks last year. Kenny Mixon returning from a 2-game suspension. Keith Newman starting for the rookie Dontarius Thomas. A veteran secondary, Antoine Winfield, coming over during the offseason from Buffalo. Empty backfield, 2nd down and 10. Grossman's pass deflected at the line, incomplete. He was looking for the fullback, Brian Johnson.
Well, you know, the Bears in their first 2 games, Kenny, have come out throwing the football. They only threw it 18 times against Green Bay last week, but 9 of them were in the first quarter. And everybody knows that the Bears right now are depleted at wide receiver. They don't really have a number 1. Thomas Jones is their best chance, you know, to control and sustain offense. So they're gaining up on the line of scrimmage. Terry Shea, the offensive coordinator of Chicago, knows that. So he's coming out trying to throw the ball and loosen the defense up.
Bunch formation to the right. 3rd and 10. Grossman steps up and throws. It's complete for a first down out at the 48-yard line. Bobby Wade, the only Bears receiver who caught a pass last week at Lambeau. He caught 3, and Wade picks up the first.
Nice job right here, the offensive line, of creating this gap right here. That opening, allowing Rex Grossman, who's only about 6 feet tall, has a hard time seeing over tall defensive and offensive linemen. He has to be able to find openings to throw the ball to.
Vikings have not forced a 3-and-out all season. Bears picked up the first on 3rd and 10 as Thomas Jones takes it into Vikings territory for a gain of 3. Kevin Williams made the tackle.
Now let me throw some names at you here, Kenny. Jay Novacek, Aeneas Williams, Simeon Rice, Jake Plummer, Thomas Jones. What do they all have in common, Kenny?
Former Arizona Cardinals.
I'm telling you, the moment that players leave the desert, their careers take off. And Thomas Jones was buried in the desert for 2 years, injured, in the doghouse, out of the doghouse. He's out of the doghouse, and he is a guy right now that they are featuring, and he is living up to any promise that was made in the offseason.
152 yards last week.
There it is, screen to him now.
After Grossman did a 360, Jones first down to the Vikings 38-yard line, gain of 10.
Okay, this is the old double screen here. I mean, you know, you fake the screen left, and then you turn around. Watch, they'll fake the screen here. To the right here, Thomas Jones will come over and block, and then he'll sneak out over here. Get a couple linemen out there. Nice little move right there. No pressure on Grossman. Rex said last week he thought he did a good job of managing the game. Not trying to Thomas Jones, taking what the defense gives him.
From the 39, the end around to Bobby Wade. We saw this last week up in Green Bay. And Wade picks up the 3rd Bears first down of this drive. He gains 14 yards.
I'll tell you, the Bears ran a ton of reverses last week. They gave it to Bobby Wade a couple times. This is who they're trying to confuse out here. Run it this way, get these guys flowing, and then come back. Believe me, the Vikings saw this all week in practice. For the Bears to get this reverse right now, Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator, might be having some heart murmurs. Now, nice call by Terry Shea. They'll run that reverse a bunch today, and they won't necessarily always hand it off.
Anthony Thomas now in the backfield for the Bears. And the A-Train, who gained over 1,000 yards for the 2nd time in his career last season, gains 6 down to the 19-yard line. Keith Newman made the tackle. Vikings have already lost a linebacker during this first series, Chris Claiborne, and his return today is doubtful.
Well, the Vikings made a lineup change at linebacker this week. They moved Chris Claiborne to the weak side. Keith Newman, who was inactive last week, to the strong side, left E.J. Henderson in the middle. Keith Newman took the place of Dontarius Thomas, a rookie linebacker who had struggled the first 2 weeks in pass coverage.
It's a left calf strain for Chris Claiborne. Bunch formation to the left, 2nd down and 4. And the handoff to Thomas. And Thomas Jones takes it down to the 15-yard line.
You know, the Bears right now in this opening drive, it's like they've scripted this thing, and they've rehearsed this script all week because every play has been perfectly executed. That's the guy right there. It's Terry Shea calling the plays right now. Brought an offense from Kansas City that's been very successful, the best offense in football the last 2 years. And their Thomas Jones has got to be Priest Holmes. I mean, that's how he looks at it. Rex Grossman has to develop into Trent Green.
From the 15-yard line, here's Jones. And it's interesting that you mentioned Trent Green, the guy that Terry Shea worked with the last couple of years in Kansas City. Rex Grossman grew up in Bloomington, Indiana. Trent Green played for the University of Indiana. And Trent Green actually umpired some of Rex Grossman's Little League baseball games.
Funny how that thing all comes around. Right now, positive yards on every play here from Chicago in this opening drive, and it takes the crowd out of the game at the same time while keeping the Vikings offense off the field.
Wade in motion, 2nd down and 8. Jones following the fullback, Brian Johnson, takes it down to the 10-yard line, setting up 3rd down and about 4. Bears have already eaten 6 minutes off the clock on this opening possession.
You know, Thomas Jones has an ability to beat you in a lot of ways. We've seen him catch a screen pass. He's a tough runner. He's been good down on the goal line in short yardage. And then he has the ability to do what you call a jump cut. The ability to move, to jump sideways and escape a tackler right in his face.
Bears have to get to the 5-yard line for a 1st down.
Oh, no, he's got the right tackle here. John Tate moved.
Start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty is still 3rd down.
I mean, here it is right here, and this happens when you come into the Metrodome and the noise gets loud and you think you hear things, and you just have to be sure. You just have to look, have one eyeball on the ball, one eyeball on your man. Actually, sometimes a penalty at this part of the field gives you a little bit more room to operate if you want to go for the touchdown. I believe that you have the field goal from this range. You might as well go for a touchdown right now. Be aggressive.
3rd down and 10 following the penalty. 4 wide receivers. Grossman under pressure, dumps it off. And the pass short, intended for Jones.
Well, Chicago moved the ball great, and they were excellent up until the last 2 plays where they get the offsides, and then pressure up here on the outside right here forces Grossman to step up. And really, this is a shovel pass, but you need a little more shovel in that pass, don't you? Like he couldn't have been a good shot putter, because that's what he was trying to do to that ball, and it looked like the thing just fell. The play wasn't going to gain any yards anyways. The Vikings had that play sniffed out.
So now a 34-yard attempt. Ettinger has not made a field goal over the first 2 games. He is 0 for 2. Make it 1 for 3 as Ettinger connects from 34. Most importantly, the Bears kept the Vikings offense off the field for nearly 7 minutes.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
Randy Moss and the Vikings offense awaiting their first chance after the Bears were able to move the football downfield. A 12-play, 47-yard drive. It took nearly 7 minutes, culminating with the Ettinger field goal. Well, Weldon Moore, the Vikings' regular return man the first 2 weeks, inactive today. So Keenan Howry and Kelly Campbell are back deep as Ettinger kicks it off, taken at the 6 by the wide receiver Campbell, and he's upended as he crosses the 25-yard line. 20-yard return. Joe Odom with the tackle on special teams for Chicago. 3 wide receivers set on 1st down. Richard Owens, Ontario Smith in the backfield. Penalty markers prior to the snap.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty is still 1st down.
Well, that's Adam Heyer, who's making his first NFL start. Guilty of a couple infractions last year, taking the place of Mike Rosenthal. A key loss last week in the loss to Philadelphia. Of course, they lost Jim Kleinsasser. That's what the Vikings are faced with right now. They're starting a rookie, Richard Owens, right now at tight end, fullback, along with Heyer. And those are 2 guys right now that Ryan Urlacher, of course, out for Chicago, missing his first NFL game. Injuries all over the league, and you got to overcome them.
1st down and 15, and the give to Ontario Smith. And Smith brings it up to the 28-yard line. Gain of 7. Dante Culpepper threw 5 touchdowns week 1 against Dallas. Career high 37 completions week 2 against the Eagles. Matt Burke, the 3-time Pro Bowl center, there's higher, making his first career start. Minnesota native, attended the University of Minnesota. Moss and Burleson, the wideouts. 2nd down and 8 from the 28. Culpepper intended for the former Bear, Marcus Robinson. Broken up by Todd McMillan, making his 2nd career start. Starting today for the injured Charles Tillman.
Well, the pressure is on all those guys back there. You see the defensive line, Alex Brown, Tank Johnson making his first start, the rookie. Next to the other rookie, Tommy Harris. Hunter Hillemeyer gets the start, his first NFL start for Brian Urlacher. And then the secondary, broken down, but Mike Green, R.W. McQuarters, the experienced guys. Todd Johnson making his first start. Todd McMillan, as you mentioned, the 2nd start.
Culpepper out of the shotgun. Vikings have to get to the 36 for a first down. Catch is made by Randy Moss up at the 38-yard line. His first catch today, and it's good for a Vikings first down.
Well, in order for the Vikings to have time, they've got to be able to handle Agunlie right here. They double team him. Tight end right there, along with Adam Heyer, they take care of him. They know where the pressure is going to come from. And for the Bears, Adewale Agunlie, they're waiting for him to step up and play like the guy that earned 15 sacks for the Dolphins a year ago.
Defensive coordinator Ron Rivera told him this week, your training camp is over. Came in late following the deal from Miami. Penalty marker as Ontario Smith takes it out to the 42-yard line. Gain of 4, tackled by Hillenmeyer.
Holding, offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, Man's first down.
That's the left guard, Chris Lewinsky. 6 penalties in the game on Monday, Brian, called against the Vikings offensive linemen and the tight ends combined.
Well, yeah, and it's upsetting to Mike Tice, who's an old offensive line coach, watches the offensive line every single play, and he's a little disturbed by the play of Lewinsky early this season. Some penalties early this year right now, not playing at a level that he ended the season a year ago, which was near a Pro Bowl level. One thing, if this guy here is making his first start, and you expect that from Adam Heyer, but the veteran guys, he's expecting those guys to play at a good level.
On 1st and 20, Culpepper faked the end around, dumps it off to Ontario Smith. Smith into Bears territory. First down and more. Finally forced out of bounds by Todd Johnson at the Chicago 36-yard line.
Well, I think one thing that you're going to see from this Bears defense today is you're going to see missed tackles. I mean, Urlacher and Mike Brown were great tacklers. You're going to get a lot of misdirection right here. This guy making his first start is a little bit unsure of himself. I mean, he's been a special team player. Talking about Hunter Hillemeyer, he's been a special team player and a good contributor to this team over 2 years, but never been a starter. Bears just trying to get lined up right now.
36 yards for Ontario Smith on that previous play. Culpepper escaped from Agunlie, and the pass caught by the tight end Owens, and he brings it down to the 25-yard line. Another Vikings first down as we check in for the first time this afternoon with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny, Rams trying to bounce back from a poor performance against the Falcons. Take a look at Mark Bulger here. Terry says, JB, nice post route run by Torrey Holt. A laser 32-yard strike. Rams on their opening drive on top of New Orleans. 7-0. Back to Kenny, Brian, and Jay.
All right, thanks, JB. 14 consecutive wins at home for Mark Bulger. One shy of Kurt Warner's record. From the 25 on first down, Culpepper with loads of time. And the pass incomplete, intended for Smith out of the backfield.
But this area of the field right now, Kenny, this has been the Achilles heel of the Minnesota Vikings for two years now. I mean, you saw them on Monday night, move the ball all day long against the Eagles. And then they get down to this area, inside the 30-yard line, and they would just start making mistakes. And the same thing happened a year ago. I mean, they had 11 possessions last year inside the 20-yard line where they got no points.
Wow.
And so they want to at least get field goals. And so right now they're thinking touchdown and everything, but they can't get this far and not come away with points.
Burleson in motion. From the 25, the give is to Smith, and he is unable to turn the corner. Hit first by Israel Adonijah, the rookie out of the University of Manitoba.
Well, you know, the Vikings have been a great running football team the last 2 years, and the guy that made the whole running game go was Jim Kleinsaucer, and he's done for the year. He's getting his knee operated on Tuesday this week, and he's done it. And he was a guy that could block defensive ends by himself. He didn't have to get double teams. And running to the strong side right now with rookies like Owens and Sean Burton, it's going to be a lot more difficult to have that type of running game.
3 wide receivers set. Mo Williams in the backfield. 3rd down and 11. Culpepper in trouble. Hit by Ogunlea. Ball is loose, and it's recovered. Looks like the Vikings have it.
There it is. I mean, there's the Vikings kind of self-destructing once they start making progress down the field. I mean, Culpepper was looking for Moss. He's looking for Moss still on the screen right there. He was like, what happened to Randy? They did a nice job of zoning Randy Moss on that play. Culpepper really wanted to get the ball to him, and they sandwiched him.
First sack of the year for Ogunlea. 44-year-old Morton Anderson out to attempt a 46-yard field goal. And with that kick, which is no good, wide to the right, Anderson has just set a new NFL record by playing in his 341st career game.
How lucky can one guy?
But the Bears stopped the Vikings on their opening drive. Vikings kind of self-destructed. Take a look right here at Adewale Ogunlea right here. I mean, he beats the right tackle, Adam Hyer, gets the sack, his first sack as a Bear. And Culpepper here is looking for Randy Moss, who gets covered by Hunter Hillemeyer down the deep middle of the field. That's great coverage right there. They're looking for Moss all the way.
Hillemeyer starting for the injured Brian Urlacher. Following the missed field goal, Bears starting from the 36-yard line off the play fake. Grossman under pressure, lobs one up there. The catch is made by Thomas Jones. Taken out of bounds by Mike Nattiel at the Vikings 37 as Jones gains 27 yards.
I tell you, that's more than managing a game right there. That's making a play right there by Rex Grossman. To feel the pressure up here and to avoid this pressure on a blitz. Keith Newman has him. Grossman gets out, keeps his head up, confidently drops the ball out of the sky into Thomas Jones' hand. Again, Thomas Jones showing his versatility.
Here's Jones bursting up the middle, down to the 29-yard line, gain of 8.
I tell you, that was a burst out of Thomas Jones. What I noticed from Jones last week, they came out, Kenny, in the 3rd quarter to start the game against Green Bay, and they gave it to Thomas Jones 6 times in a row. And after a 54-yard gain, he didn't come out of the game. He took the next handoff like he just did there and ran just as hard. So the conditioning level of this guy is phenomenal right now.
He gained all 79 yards on that drive last week.
6 plays, 79 yards, and broke that game open up in Green Bay.
3 wide receivers, 2nd down and 2. Play action, Grossman rolling right. And the pass incomplete, intended for David Terrell, nearly intercepted by Brian Russell.
That guy led the National Football League in interceptions last year. He's upset because he hasn't had many opportunities so far this year. And they know that Rex Grossman is going to put 2 or 3 up today for grabs. That was one of them. The ball's just going to get away from him like it did there, and they've got to capitalize on that. That's a missed opportunity by the Viking defense.
Russell with 9 picks last year in 20 career starts. He has 10 interceptions. And Russell, a guy who was a quarterback in college, began his NFL career on the practice squad.
Yeah, he was a quarterback at the University of Pennsylvania his freshman year.
Grossman calls timeout with the play clock winding down. Just over 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Bears driving. They lead by 3.
To get excited about the Bears right here, controlling the clock, playing keep away from that offense, not allowing Moss and Culpepper on the field except for that one series.
3rd down and 2 for Chicago, and Grossman's pass is caught for a first down by Brian Johnson. And the former Redskin takes it down to the 19-yard line. He needed 2, and he gained 10.
Nice play by Brian Johnson, but watch the block right here of Thomas Jones on the outside, allowing Grossman to get this ball off. He goes and meets the rusher, allowing Grossman to get plenty of time and vision to find Johnson, who is turning out to be a good pickup, another good free agent pickup for this Bears team. Very good receiver, an excellent special team player.
2 tight ends. 1st and 10 from the 19. The pitch to Jones. And Thomas Jones gains just 1 down to the 18-yard line.
Lovie Smith last night, out of East Texas, Big Sandy, Texas. He took his team to see Friday Night Lights, the story of Odessa Permian high school football under the lights in West Texas. And he was excited about it. Football in Texas is king. Were congratulating Lovie last week in his first NFL win. A lot of telegrams, a lot of phone calls this week following probably the biggest name out of Big Sandy, Texas.
Thomas Jones inside the 15, inside the 10, picks up another Bears first down at the 8-yard line.
Remember last year, I thought the big free agent acquisition by Carolina was Stephen Davis and what he did to that football team. You're watching right now Thomas Jones play, and you say, okay, the free agents that got signed by different teams in this league, this Thomas Jones might be the best of all of them right now and the biggest contributor. We've seen him in pass protection. We've seen him catching the ball. We see him running the tough yards on short yardage and now making people miss getting to the outside.
1st and goal for the Bears from the Vikings 8. Again, a 2 tight end set. Johnson shifting into the backfield. Off the play fake. Grossman escapes. And it's taken down back at the 10-yard line. He lost the football. Vikings have it. The play broke down. Grossman fumbled. It's recovered by Kevin Williams.
Lance Johnstone there was responsible for poking that ball out. You see him coming in there, 51 on your screen. He knocks that ball out from Rex Grossman. Kevin Williams recovers it, and Rex Grossman, in less than 3 games right now, is learning some harsh lessons about ball security and taking care of the ball.
10 seconds remaining in the quarter. Vikings following the turnover start from the 10. Ontario Smith.
That ball out?
Lost the football, so the Vikings give it right back.
It's like Agulia had the ball. Yeah. Wally, who got his first sack for the Bears in the last series, just got himself his first fumble recovery.
Timeout.
So the first quarter ends on back-to-back turnovers. Big first quarter for Ogunleye. He took the words of the coaches to heart. His training camp has certainly come to an end. Vikings have given the ball right back to the Bears. 1st and goal from the Vikings 6. Penalty markers.
False start. Offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I tell you, the story in the NFL early this season is guys stripping the ball from players running. Here you get Rex Grossman getting the ball stripped there by Lance Johnstone. Adewale Agulia stripping the ball here from Ontario Smith. And this is what it looks like right now. Guys aren't coming in to make the tackle. One guy makes the tackle here.
And then the second guy strips it
Comes
away
in and cleans it up.
First and goal from the 12 following the penalty. Grossman, Thomas Jones out of bounds at the 15.
Kenny, this is how it looks right now. I mean, one guy comes in and tackle. The second guy comes in right now. The second guy comes in and he's trying to strip. Anywhere you have the ball, they're trying to pull that ball out there. They're trying to pull it out like this, Kenny, right now. The second guy in's job right now in this league is to pull the ball out. We saw it in two huge plays involving these teams last week. We saw Urlacher pulling the ball out of Amon Green's hands going in for a touchdown, and we saw Nate Wayne from the Eagles pull the ball out of Dante Culpepper's hand right before half going in for a touchdown.
Draw Thomas Jones down to the 5. Finally tackled at the 4, and he picked up the Bears first.
Jones on the carry for Chicago.
Yeah, Thomas Jones got himself a convoy going forward right there, carrying the pile. His best friends are the big monsters up front. Reuben Brown right there in your picture. John Tate, Olin Kreutz, Steve Edwards filling in for Mike Gandy, who's injured right now. That group is controlling this line of scrimmage early in this game.
Official spot back at the 5, 3rd and goal. Grossman throwing corner of the end zone, out of bounds. David Terrell, the intended receiver.
For Bear fans out there, that looked a lot like the end of the Detroit game. David Terrell, the one guy that has some size up here, he's going to run this post and back to the corner. It's the same route he ran against Detroit, where the ball got intercepted right here. I tell you, he caught, it looked like,
Gotcha.
Can he hold on to that ball? It looked like his feet might have gotten in bounds.
Edinger hit from 34 earlier. This a 23-yard attempt. Brad Maynard, the holder. Edinger now 2 for 2. Bears capitalize following the Vikings turnover. They now lead 6-0. Bears leading the Vikings 6-0. Early second quarter. Paul Edinger connecting on his second field goal today following the fumble recovery by Ogulia. Stripped it away from Ontario Smith. Edinger kicking off. Taken at the goal line by Kelly Campbell. And Campbell tackled back at the 17-yard line by Bobby Gray. Getting downfield on special teams.
Bears are playing the game the right way. And we talked to Lovie Smith about the injuries. And we've noted in the secondary today, you know, guys making their first start, their second start. He said it's a system. You just get the next guy ready to play. And whoever's in there, Hunter Hillemeyer filling in for Urlacher, all right, it's your first start. They expect him to go play. And hey, a guy like Hillemeyer played all of preseason. He made all the checks in the preseason. He had a lot of experience. I know it was preseason, but he's got as much experience in this defense, a brand new defense, as Urlacher does.
Nat Dorsey now in at right tackle. Rookie out of Georgia Tech replacing Adam Heyer. Vikings start from their own 17-yard line. More flags.
Tommy Harris came across the line like somebody made him mad, didn't he?
Encroachment. Defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. First down, 5 yards to go.
You know, he's one of those Texas guys that was at the movie last night. Here he is right here, just a little too excited right now. He's from Killeen, Texas, also a small East Texas town. First-round draft pick, starting right away here in the NFL.
Gotta get the clock right.
Lombardi Award winner last season, top interior lineman in college football.
And Lovie Smith expects him to play better than he has. In fact, these two guys over here, Ogunleye, who's off to a good start today, and Tommy Harris, he said this defensive line has got to win today for us to have a chance.
Starting the two rookies, Tommy Harris and Tank Johnson.
On the game clock.
Brian, there are 5 starters out on the Bears defense alone. Alfonso Boone, Brian Urlacher, and then Tillman, Brown, and Jerry Azuma in the secondary. Bears patching it together. And they lead 6-0. 4 wide receivers for the Vikings. Kelly Campbell in motion. This is Campbell. He has great speed and picks up the first down out to the 33 yard line. Bobby Gray made the tackle after an 11-yard pickup.
You know, in a lot of ways, he's as fast as Randy Moss. I mean, he may not be able to go 80 yards like Randy, but he is lightning fast in that 0 to 10-yard range. And they're getting the ball to him in plays just like that. He caught a couple against Philadelphia Monday night like that. They're getting him more involved in his offense. And really, I think the best formation for this Viking team right now is 3 wide receivers. They only have 2 out there now.
From the 32 on first down, this is Smith. And he's forced back. Somebody lost a helmet.
Yeah. Well, see, that's a play that when Jim Kleinsaucer was here, that's Sean Burton, who they just signed this week. He was in a shopping mall at the Mall of America on Tuesday when he got a call from Mike Tice. He gets beat right at the point. Now you see you got 4 Chicago Bear players right there. Without Kleinsaucer and Rosenthal, right now, while these young guys get some experience and learn how to play the game at this level on Sundays, they're going to struggle in their strong side running game. And this is why they now come out with 3 wide receivers.
Also without Jermaine Wiggins today. 2nd and 11. Culpepper wanted to take off. Lost the ball. The question is, was he down?
I haven't heard a whistle.
Vikings recover.
I didn't hear a whistle, Kenny.
Vikings fall on it back at the 31-yard line.
Culpepper, who's worked hard on taking care of the football and not fumbling, fumbled once last week. He's got 2 hands on it. He's covered up. That ball got knocked out.
Cameron Worrell stripped it away.
Sure did. I mean, league-wide right now, one guy comes on and wraps him up, and everybody else comes in for the strip. They wanted to go to Randy Moss that time, but the pressure got to Culpepper first.
Vikings have to get to the 42 for a first down. Culpepper airing it out. Kelly Campbell makes the catch in Bears territory at the Chicago 29-yard line. A 40-yard pass play.
Well, the game is this, can the pressure get to Culpepper and can he handle? Because if he can and they can buy time, this is what speed will do. Bears in a zone look right here. Safety that time, Todd Johnson, very slow in getting over to the top of it. Culpepper enough vision and arm to get the ball way down the field.
Second catch today for Campbell. From the Bears 29, 2 tight end set. Smith brought down at the 23-yard line by former #1 draft pick Michael Haynes.
One of the things the Bears are doing today is they're putting R.W. McQuarters, their most experienced corner, on Randy Moss. You're going to see right here, wherever Randy Moss goes for most of the day, you're going to see number 21 lined up on him. And then usually they'll have another player behind him. Yeah, R.W. McQuarters trying to give it to Randy Moss.
The center, Matt Burke, has come out, replaced by Corey Withrow. 2nd down and 3. From the 22. Culpepper over the middle. Moss, penalty marker, as Randy takes it down to the 6-yard line. He made that catch with one hand.
Yeah, he sure did. And with the corner hanging right on him, I'm sure that's going to be the call, is the illegal contact on the defensive back covering him. And they'll decline it.
Before the pass, holding defense number 21 on an eligible receiver. Penalty of decline, play results in a first.
Here's the matchup right here.
First and goal on the 7.
Really, McQuarters just had one arm kind of dragging on Randy Moss and put the big paw up. There's Matt Burke getting looked at. He was injured on the long throw to Kelly Campbell.
So a new center, a new right tackle for the Vikings during this series. From the 7, 1st and goal. Culpepper inside the 5. Brought down at the 2. Lance Briggs made the tackle.
Remember last Monday night, I mean, just 6 days ago, Culpepper was in that position a couple of times, running for the end zone. and he looked indecisive about what he was going to do. And I think almost on this one, he looked a little indecisive. I think he could have walked in here if he doesn't cut back to the left. I think he had it wide open all the way to the right.
He told us he was not indecisive. It was the play that caused him to look indecisive on Monday night.
That was a fake draw pass. So he faked the draw, and then he wanted to throw the ball, but they covered him, covered the receiver.
Culpepper to the end zone, and Moss makes the catch for the touchdown.
Very Randy, baby. Yeah!
He makes it look easy, and it's just jump ball. I mean, there's just nobody in the league that can cover him like that except for the guy that's not in the Bears uniform right now, Charles Tillman. Remember the end of last year's game at Soldier Field where Charles Tillman ripped the ball out of Randy Moss's hands on the exact same play?
Did I hear Austin Powers? Is Austin Powers here at the Metrodome?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to
Randy, baby. Yeah!
go watch and get a front seat to watch Randy Moss play?
44th time Culpepper and Moss have hooked up on a touchdown pass, and Moss, the new Vikings record holder, he's caught a touchdown in 8 consecutive games. The NFL record, Jerry Rice, 13 straight games. 7-6 Vikings.
It was the throw that made that play by Culpepper. Watch how perfectly thrown this ball is. R.W. McQuarters knows he can't jump with Randy Moss. McQuarters is coming this way to knock this ball out of his hands, but the ball is thrown away from McQuarters. Culpepper, his accuracy right now is super sharp.
7 for 9 today. Penalty marker as Berrien brings it out to the 38-yard line. 32-yard return, but there is a flag. Mike Carey talking it over with the field judge, Buddy Horton.
During the return, illegal block on the back by the receiving team, number 98. The 10-yard penalty, the retained possession, first down, timeout.
Sharon Pearson, the guilty bear. Early second quarter, Vikings by 1.
Everybody is congratulating Randy Moss, except maybe the head coach Mike Tice.
Can't say that on there.
Yeah, you can't say that to me. Randy Moss loves Mike Tice, man. They got a good work relationship right now. E.J. Henderson, the starting middle linebacker. Like maybe something wrong with that left leg out of the middle right now for the Vikings.
Pass caught by David Terrell, who went without a catch last week in Green Bay. So the Vikings without 2 of their starting linebackers, both Henderson and Chris Claiborne.
I think the big thing about that catch from David Terrell is he just flipped the ball back to the ref and went back to the huddle. Had a lot of showboating going on in that first loss to Detroit. I think he needs to grow up. I think he knows that. I think Lovie Smith's talked to him. Just wants to be a contributing member of this team right now.
Caught 5 for 126 yards against the Lions week 1. Anthony Thomas hit for a loss in the backfield by Corey Chavis. 3rd and long coming up, but first we check in once again with James Brown in Los Angeles.
And Kenny McNabb is in a serious groove here, culminating this drive with a nice hookup 1-yard pass play to tight end Mike Bartram. Last week, McNabb was 19 of 28 to 7 different receivers. Today, he's 16 of 18, 204 yards to 8 different receivers, and it's 21-0. Back to Kenny, Brian, and Jay.
JB, you talk about weapons. That's their long snapper that caught that touchdown pass.
Mike Bartram getting into the end zone. 3rd down and 8. And Grossman's pass is broken up, but there is a flag. Terrell, the intended receiver, Terrence Shaw, the former Raider, on the coverage.
That's like the Howard Stern radio show right there, like a 7-second delay.
Pass interference.
More Monday Night Football.
Defense number 25. From the spot of the foul, automatic, first down.
I mean, Terrence Shaw just got here 2 weeks ago to shore up when they lost Kenny Irvin for the year. Yeah, that's a good call. Went through the back right there of David Terrell. Contact before the play. It's a good call. Came out late.
It was definitely hit.
Mike Tice wants to try to challenge this. Get the red hanky out of his back pocket. Back judge threw the flag that time. Keith Ferguson. Tice threw that flag on Monday night when the Eagles had to throw back to the quarterback.
There was no foul for pass interference. The ball is tipped right before the contact. Third down.
That's what Mike Tice wanted to possibly challenge, the fact that once the ball is tipped, then there's no pass interference. Everything is off. You can go contact the receiver.
And in the game on Monday, Donovan McNabb caught a pass, but did not start the play out of the shotgun, so Tice obviously knows his rules.
Well, I don't know. Nobody tipped that ball. I don't know. Lovie Smith might want to take a look at that. They picked that flag up because they said the ball was tipped, which would take off the pass interference.
So the Vikings defense forcing a 3-and-out for the first time this season. Brad Maynard's first punt taken at the 45 by Keenan Howry. And Howry brings it back into Bears territory. 38-yard punt, 11 on the return. And that ball was not tipped.
Yeah. Threw the flag and said there was pass interference. Right here, this ball wasn't tipped. He should have challenged it. He would have won the challenge, and the interference would have stayed, and the Bears would still have the football.
Instead, the Vikings take over at the Bears 46, and Ontario Smith gains 9 before he is wrapped up by Mike Green. You can challenge the touching of a forward pass by a defensive player.
Sure.
In this case, Mike Carey announced that the pass was tipped by a defensive player, but we took a look at a couple of replays, and it was not.
Remember last Monday night, Mike Tice never challenged a catch by Terrell Owens in the end zone. He never got a replay of that, so he didn't know if he could challenge it or not, or if it was a play worth challenging. This play, they had to replay, they had to look at it. The Bears could have challenged that.
Second down and 1. Culpepper dumping it off to Smith. First down to the 26-yard line. Mike Tice has 6 coaches up in the booth who normally watch for the replay to see
here it is, Ken,
whether or not they should challenge.
Yeah, Terrell Owens against Antoine Winfield, and when you first saw it, you said, oh, that's a touchdown. But then you see, watch this right here. I mean, here's what happened. That ball hits the ground, no possession right there. You couldn't tell from the sidelines, but Monday night never put a replay up until they went to commercial, and like I thought Al Michaels said, it's a fly, in the ointment of that rule that, once the extra point is kicked, that you can't challenge.
Here's Smith from the 27, takes it down to the 24-yard line, a gain of 3.
Well, here's the Vikings right now. I mean, they've been in this situation last year, last Monday night, moving the football, moving towards the goal line, and what they've had happen is they've self-destructed. They've had penalties, they've had turnovers. We've seen it today. Vikings are just trying to put a drive together and finish a drive right now. Last week, 34 plays inside the Eagles' 30-yard line. 5 penalties, they got the turnover, came away with just 3 field goals.
Out of the shotgun, Culpepper on 2nd and 7. Pass intended for Nate Burleson. Alex Brown on the coverage. Well, the Bears asking why offensive pass interference was not called.
I think everybody's a little shocked right now. Everybody's just holding the flag, but this is exactly what it is. The defensive player has a chance to go to the ball just the same as an offensive player. Right there, Nate Burleson going over the back with the ball in the air of Alex Brown. You don't see pass interference against defensive ends very long, but that's what it would have been. Here's the key matchup right here. Agunle on the outside against the rookie Nat Dorsey.
3rd down and 7. 3 wide receivers. Culpepper's pass was short, looking for Marcus Robinson.
Bears giving Culpepper a lot of different looks, mixing it up, dropping defensive ends, blitzing safeties right now. You see their best pass rusher right here, Ogunleye, he drops back into coverage here, and they come here. Mike Green comes, gets good pressure, force Culpepper to kind of throw that ball flat-footed. Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, you know, he came from Philadelphia, and he watched that tape very carefully about what the Eagles did to the Vikings. They don't run the same defense as Philadelphia, but he brought a lot of blitzes with him from Philadelphia.
42-yard attempt is good. Morton Anderson, wide right from 46 earlier. Anderson in his 23rd NFL season came into the league in 1982, the year after Howie Long, Mike Singletary, Lawrence Taylor, Ronnie Lott, and Brian Baldinger, and he's still going.
Yeah, it's something else, you know, and he said he came to Minnesota because he was a roommate when he was a rookie in New Orleans with John Tice, Mike Tice's brother. Had a good relationship, was friends with him, knew of the family, knew Mike real well. I can't imagine, though, coming in the league in 1982. I don't care what you did. If you were just a ball boy and still getting around the ballparks and getting up in the morning and getting to practice and doing all those things.
There are two Hall of Famers who are younger than Morton Anderson, Eric Dickerson and Barry Sanders.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two guys on the Vikings team right now, Nat Dorsey and Kenichi Udeze, that weren't even born when Morton Anderson was kicking field goals in New Orleans.
He is the oldest player in the NFL at 44. George Blanda, whose record he broke today, career game number 341, retired in 1975 at the age of 48. He's now 77, lives in the Chicago area, perhaps watching the game today. And Morton has said through the years he would love to play at 50.
Well, the state of kickers in the NFL, he may get that chance to do it. Vikings have been through a lot of young kickers under Mike Tice, trying to find the right answer.
Bernard Berrien tackled at the 25 by Richard Owens. So the Bears trailing by 4 with just over 5 minutes remaining. Second quarter.
Yeah, look at when he played his first game, 31 Viking players, 31 of the 53 players were 5 years old or younger. Putting this into perspective here. Any way you look at it, Morton Anderson is old. I mean, in this league. But you have to be old to play 341 games. No, it used to be you come into the league, you want to play 10 years, you want to play 100 games, something like that. To play 341 and counting, you've got to take your hat off to it.
How many games did you play?
Look, I'm just old, period. I don't even know if I can count anymore.
Thomas Jones tackled after a short gain by Dontarius Thomas. Well, this morning, Brian, it was Packers star Amon Green. Now it's the fans' chance to tell us who they would like to see go 10 yards with TB. Terry Bradshaw on next week's pregame show. Log on to foxsports.com on MSN. Choose from LeVar Arrington, Ray Lewis, Ty Law, and Warren Sapp. And stay tuned later today to see who was selected.
Well, whoever Terry talks to, he always gets them to laugh and smile and loosens them up. Mike Vick was great last week.
Grossman on 2nd and 8, complete to Jones. You got Terry to laugh this morning on Fox NFL Sunday.
Well, there's more than one Baldy in the house. Got to put the bald wig on as we get close to Halloween.
Well, Terry last week accused you of wearing a toupee.
Yes, which was completely false. Remember when Terry used to have a toupee? He used to have a dome like some of the players do right now, and fans. Yeah, I think Terry has made that look very popular around the country. Big third down here for the Bears, trying to hold on to it.
They have to get to the 36 for a first down. Grossman over the middle. Berrien makes the catch, but he hesitated. Needed only a half yard. He hesitated and was tackled at the 35.
Kenny, we're talking about a lot of rookies today, and this is a rookie mistake because you have to know where you're at on the field. Berrien had a chance to get this first down easily. I think he's going to be a little bit short here, Kenny. He tried to be too cute, make an extra move, use the speed rather than just get down and get the first down.
You have to be aware of where that first down marker is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. He's a rookie. He's catching his first pass in the NFL. All those things. He's excited, but short of the yellow line. And he's getting talked to right now. There's 2 possessions in a row where they're not able to hold on to it like they did the first couple possessions.
Maynard punting from his own 25. Keenan Howry takes it at the 18, breaks 1 tackle. Up the sidelines, and finally knocked out of bounds at the 39. 21-yard return following the 37-yard punt. Well, coming up, game 2 of our Fox doubleheader. Most of you will see the Green Bay Packers and the Indianapolis Colts.
Well, you know, Terry Bradshaw is going to talk about his list of top 10 quarterbacks, and both those guys will be on the list. The question of how high they're going to be on the list, because, man, you can put either one of those guys 1-2 or 2-1, any way you look at it, and really, what kind of an argument you're going to get? 2 guys with the most durability of that position in the NFL right now. Of course, Favre has the record, and Peyton Manning played every game so far in 7 seasons.
Vikings from the 40. Smith bottled up by Michael Haynes. And since 1999, Brian, not only have Favre and Manning started every game, but they are tied for the most wins in the league, each with 52 since the start of the 99 season.
Both these teams, both the Vikings and the Bears in the last 2 years, have gone to Lambeau and beat Brett Favre in the Packers. Of course, huge win for the Bears last week. Vikings opened up the season last year. That 6-0 start, they started that by beating the Packers in the first week of the season up there.
3 wide receivers set, 2nd down and 11. Matt Burke back in the game at center. And the Vikings did not get the snap off prior to the 2-minute warning. There's a flag on the field as well. Clock has hit 2 minutes.
Yeah, Randy Moss flinched in the slot that time. Penalty?
So another Vikings penalty. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Vikings lead 10-6.
This afternoon, Randy has 3 catches for 28 yards, nothing deep, but 1 touchdown. I mean, you got to give your credit here to Todd Johnson and Cameron Worrell and Nathan Vasher and these kids that are out there playing against the most explosive receiver in the game.
Culpepper under pressure, able to get rid of it. And there's a late flag. Pass intended for Ontario Smith.
Only got pressure on Culpepper.
Personal foul, major face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty, previous foul, automatic.
Adewale Agulia has showed up here today. Here he is on the outside working against the rookie. One-on-one, clubs him out of the way and gets the face mask at the end, twists Dante Culpepper's head around. An errant foul by Agulia, just trying to grab some cloth, just get a hold of Culpepper.
From the 49 out of the shotgun, 3 wide receivers set, rolling right. Pass caught at the 38-yard line. Nate Burleson. But there is a flag.
That time they doubled Agulia and they rolled out to his way to try and contain him.
There are 2 fouls, both on the offense. Illegal motion on the offense, number 84, is declined. Illegal formation, offense is accepted. 5-yard penalty, it's still first down.
You cannot be going forward at the snap. Watch Randy Moss right here. This is kind of drifting, going a little bit forward here at the snap. They are being extremely tight about that. Receivers are kind of getting a jump against the defense coming in motion. They're clamping down on that. Kind of an undisciplined play by Randy that time.
Now 1st and 15. Vikings back at their own 44. 3 wide receivers. Culpepper now steps up to the line.
Well, he sees single coverage for Randy Moss right now.
Culpepper in trouble, gets it away. Here's Ontario Smith. Down to the Bears' 33-yard line. Alex Brown was in Culpepper's face. He got rid of the football.
Great call that time by the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, seeing everybody up at the line of scrimmage and then dumping it off right over the top of him and sneaking Ontario Smith out of the backfield. They ran that play against the Cowboys the first week here for a touchdown. Nice play. Get everybody up at the line of scrimmage, then dump it off to Ontario Smith.
Vikings use their first timeout, stopping the clock with 1:24 remaining in the half as we check in with Jay Glazer. Jay?
Well, guys, obviously the Bears could certainly use Brian Urlacher. Brian told me that late Thursday, his hamstring, he actually felt that pop again in that hamstring. He said it was not as bad as his training camp injury. However, he also told me that head coach Lovie Smith told him, you're going to sit out today. Maybe you'll sit out next week as well because we have the bye after that. And I asked him about his backup, Hillenmeyer, and he said, you know what? The guy knows the defense as well as I do. Guaranteed he'll be fine.
And Jay, this is the first game Brian Urlacher is watching from the sidelines in his NFL career. He and Mike Brown, both drafted in 2000, had played in 66 straight.
I guarantee you that any injury Urlacher has right now pales in comparison to standing on the sidelines and watching the game.
Not an easy thing to do.
No. Especially when you enjoy the game as much as he does.
From the 35, pump fake. Culpepper steps up. Penalty marker as Dante takes it out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Gain of 10.
Yeah, going to be against the secondary of the Bears.
Busy first half for Mike Carey and crew.
Good pressure applied by the defensive line in this first half by the Bears. That's what Lovie Smith said. They had to win. They had to win at that
Holding
position.
of an eligible receiver for the defense number 21. The 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
R.W. McQuarters.
The quarterback in the pocket is irrelevant. First down.
R.W. out here. Got a little hold of Kelly Campbell going by him, and that's why defensive players hold and grab, because they get beat. They're out of position. And he just got run over by a defensive tackle. That doesn't happen very often. Does a good job of avoiding a lot of big hits.
From the Bears' 20-yard line on 1st and 10. Just looking to throw it away at that time.
Well, I tell you, Culpepper is a hard guy to sack because he's so big, strong, and elusive. But the Bears right now are coming with blitzes, and they're getting to Culpepper. That time, Mike Green came on a delayed blitz and was able to hit him. Just kind of knocking him off his rhythm a little bit. You just wonder how many times some of these guys have practiced these blitzes of Ron Rivera. I mean, a lot of these guys found out they were starting, on Monday or Tuesday. They haven't had that much work with the first defense.
3 wide receivers, 2nd and 10. Culpepper.
He couldn't do that if he tried for the next 99 times in a row.
Off the crossbar.
Yeah. You line back there 30 yards away and try and hit that thing. A lot of He's a friend of Bradshaw's. Yeah, you try and hit that crossbar up there like that. It was a clank on this one. It's one of those throws that either Randy Moss was going to jump up and grab it out of the sky, or nobody was going to get it, or it's going to hit the crossbar.
So Dante wins today's quarterback challenge.
Yeah, that's a lot of quarterbacks around the league. They do that during practice. See if they can hit the crossbar. More blitz looks here from Chicago. They drop out this time.
Burleson, nice catch, nice move. brought down at the 12 with a minute remaining.
Short of the first down, and Scott Linehan told us inside the 20-yard line, we've got to get points. We at least have to get field goals. We can't come away with nothing. They gambled on Monday night, went for it on 4th and 1. It was a good play by Tice, good challenge to go on 4th and 1, but then Culpepper ended up fumbling. Here they just want to make sure they get points.
Randy Moss still only 3 receptions, 28 yards in this first half. Morton Anderson 1 for 2. This a 30-yard attempt.
Oh, bad hold.
Gus Farad picks it up. Backup quarterback. There's a flag. And he throws it away.
Kenny, another opportunity for the Vikings inside that red zone where they get frustrated and start to make mistakes.
Holding. Offense number 60 is declined. Ball goes over on downs. First down.
Now that ball snapped by Loeffler right there. Came right to Farad here. Just did a bad job of getting that ball down. So usually most teams have a fire drill. When this ball gets down, that's why you have a backup quarterback as your holder. Now they yell fire. Nobody went out in the pattern right here. They practice this every Friday. Looked like Dontarius Thomas was supposed to be the receiver. Nobody got out in the pattern when that play broke down. The Bears have to love the way this first half has gone because they've held Moss in check. The Vikings have made mistakes. And although the Bears offense hasn't done much in the second quarter, they're only down 4 points here going in at halftime.
Bears send out 4 wide receivers, but they keep it on the ground, and Thomas Jones finds a big hole, brings it out to the 36, and Rex Grossman calls timeout. A 23-yard pickup for Jones. Now 11 seconds remaining in the half.
I tell you, if Thomas Jones has the football, you better be ready to tackle this guy, because if you're not, watch what happens at the end of this play. Vikings are kind of thinking, the play's over, maybe they'll take a knee. This Thomas Jones isn't over yet. He ran right into Brian Russell here. Boom, knocked Mike Natil off his feet. That kid is playing hungry football. And he's low to the ground. I mean, he wants to have a big second half. Got 100 yards offense in the first half. But you talk about how the Bears have to play the game, Ken, with all the injuries they sustain. Urlacher on the sideline, Mike Brown out for the season, a quarterback making his 6th start in the NFL. This is how you play it. You play it close to the vest. You play it tight. The fans aren't into this thing. Randy Moss hasn't hurt him. I mean, this is the way the Bears have to play this game, the way they played it last week in Green Bay for them to have a chance to win it.
They need about 30 yards to get into Ettinger's field goal range, but they may not have time. This could be the last play. Pass broken up with 1 second on the clock by Antoine Winfield.
Terry, I tell you, Lovie Smith will say, just take a knee on this play. Take a knee and let's get to the locker room. We don't need any turnovers here. He's telling Terry Shea right now, I guarantee you, take a knee. We don't need any sort of mistakes at this point. We'll take this 10-6 deficit in the halftime, and we'll get ready for a second half. Well, maybe not. Line up out here with the Hail Mary look. Lovey's going to play it aggressive and see what kind of arm Rex Grossman has made.
Well, he hands it off to Jones, who picks up more yardage. There is a flag. Half cannot end on a defensive penalty,
Offense,
but it's
number
against
74,
the offense.
10-yard penalty. That's the end of the first half.
Randy Moss with the only touchdown of this game, but he has been held in check. Plus 3 catches, 28 yards. The Bears, who went up to Lambeau last week and beat the Packers without 5 starters on defense, including Brian Urlacher, head into the locker room trailing by only 4 points.
It's Fox NFL Sunday. 2 of the NFL's most electrifying
in your community. It's what matters.
Our congratulations to Bill Brown, the newest member of the Vikings Ring of Honor, inducted today. Brown drafted by the Bears out of Illinois, played 1 year in Chicago, 13 seasons here in Minnesota. Vikings' 3rd all-time leading rusher behind Robert Smith, and Chuck Foreman. Only Chris Carter and Randy Moss have scored more touchdowns for the Vikings than Brown. Brown played in 3 Super Bowls and is the father-in-law of Oakland Raiders quarterback Rich Gannon. He's known as Boom Boom, and today he joins the likes of Fran Tarkenton, Alan Page, Carl Eller, and Bud Grant in the Minnesota Vikings Ring of Honor.
You're watching Fox Sports, broadcasting in 720p and Dolby 5.1, the world's finest.
Some highlights from our first half coming to you in high def. Kenny Albert with Brian Baldinger. Chicago Bears without 5 starters on their defense. Offensively able to move the ball well, keep it away from the Vikings offense, but they come away with just 2 field goals.
Yeah, I mean, they got to be a little disappointed. I mean, they can't get the ball down the field to wide receivers. They got to kind of manage it. I think this whole tempo, the whole way the whole first half went, it favors the way the Bears want to play this game. For the Vikings, I mean, they've got to get some point production. This team hasn't punted. They've got 200 yards of offense. They've got 10 points. You know, you miss a field goal, you botch a field goal snap, you're not taking advantage of moving the ball down there. This whole team right now, last Monday night, last year, it's about point production in the red zone. Right now, it's not there. That has to change for this team, not just to win today, but to be a playoff team and to do something in the playoffs this year.
Randy Moss with the game's only touchdown, but caught only 3 passes for 28 yards in the first half as we take a look at the first half stats.
Well, I mean, there it is. I mean, it's 200 yards of offense and 10 points. I mean, for the amount of yards that they move this football, they need more points for that. Right now, the Chicago Bears got to feel pretty good. They run the ball well. They didn't have a good second quarter with the ball. They had the turnover and had a couple of 3-and-outs, but they need to find that rhythm that they started the game here in the second half.
Brian, our FoxSports.com fantasy update. Big day for Donovan McNabb against the Lions. Kurt Warner, 170 yards so far against the Cleveland Browns. Priest Holmes as the Chiefs look for their first win, 78 yards on the ground so far. And for Dante Culpepper in the first half here, 10 of 16, 162 yards, maintaining that high completion percentage. Came into the game at 77%. You mentioned the Vikings' problems on special teams. 1 missed field goal by Anderson and a botched snap on another field goal attempt. Short kickoff by Ettinger, taken at the 12 by Keenan Howry. Looks to cut it to the outside and brings it out to the 33-yard line. 21 yards on the return. Moments ago, our Jay Glazer caught up with
All right, thanks,
Vikings
guys.
head coach
Your
Mike
offense
Tyson.
has been moving the ball, but are you concerned about your red zone performance?
Well, of course we are. Last week we had the same problem. We moved the ball, get down there, and we stall. I think, you know, they're playing back to the goal line. I think we need to hit some underneath things and catch it and run after the catch and get down there that way. I think that'd be the best way to approach it.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
All right, thanks, Jay.
I disagree with Mike there, Ken. I believe that they have to throw the ball deep down the field to Randy Moss. I mean, as long as they don't do that, these secondary guys that have never played before think that they're playing good and they've got Randy Moss tied up.
That pass was short, intended for Sean Burton.
You've got to put the fear of Randy Moss in young players' heads. I mean, here it is, R.W. McQuarters, who's not a young guy, who's played Randy Moss before. I mean, they have 2 guys, Mike Green back there and R.W. McQuarters. I still think you have to throw it. Make them think that you're going to throw it, and then the secondary, they start playing a little bit deep. Stop taking so many chances, and they don't blitz as much when you do that.
Culpepper from the shotgun on 2nd and 10, and the pass to Burleson. He did not hang on. He was bobbling it, ruled incomplete.
A penalty flag back behind the line of scrimmage.
Illegal hands to the face. Offense number 60 is a 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Corey Withrow in there for Matt Burke at center right now.
Mike.
See the Bears with a blitz look right here. They bring Hillemeyer. There it is. Withrow had his left hand underneath the chin and into the throat of Hunter Hillenmeyer.
Withrow came in earlier. Burke returned to the game, and now Withrow back in at center.
Matt Burke missed almost all of preseason with the injury to his groin, had that operated on. Came back, played the final preseason game. This Viking offensive line, they played every snap last year. Already this year, seeing injuries to a couple of positions.
Inside handoff. And it's brought up to the 24 by Ontario Smith.
Hey, one of the reasons why they haven't gotten the ball down to Randy Moss is he's been double teamed. A lot of people don't understand what a double team is. We spent time with the Voorhees Vikings in New Jersey this summer, Ken, and we had players that showed us how to do it at that level.
The Voorhees Vikings.
Voorhees Vikings, yeah. Guys like Brian Dawkins of the Eagles and Corey Detmer of the Eagles, their sons all play for the Voorhees Vikings.
Just outside Philadelphia. Penalty flags on 3rd and 18.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
That's Bryant McKinney, the left tackle.
And the self-destruction goes on, but this is what a double team looks like here, as we had the Voorhees Vikings show us how to do it this summer.
They're down at 23. They're waiting for us in Voorhees.
Yeah, aren't they?
First, we check out what the Minnesota Vikings can do on 3rd and long, and Moss makes the catch in Bears territory at the 38-yard line. His 4th catch today and his longest reception of the season, 44 yards.
I tell you, Randy Moss, he finally got the ball down the field. I mean, his longest reception this year was 22 yards before that catch. Here he is in the slot working against Mike Green. See, they put the middle linebacker on him that time. There's no way Hunter Hillenmeyer can run with Randy Moss. Now, maybe Urlacher healthy can do that. But they finally got it behind the middle linebacker for the first time today.
From the 37.
Go back. Here comes Moss. They got him doubled.
And Culpepper forced out of bounds. Back at the 42.
This play was all designed to get the ball to Randy Moss here. And he's just kind of walk off the line. Now he's going to make his burst. Now look at the Bears. They've got a guy below him and above him. That Todd Johnson was going to go anywhere Randy Moss went. Randy Moss left the field to go scratch his ankle. He was going to go right there with him.
Ian Scott credited with a sack on the play. 2nd down and 15. Smith, big burst. Picks up the 1st down and more. Ontario Smith finally taken down inside the Bears' 5-yard line.
Well, when the Vikings don't self-destruct, they're an explosive football team, and it can come from a lot of different players. Ontario Smith right here, you see this thing from the end zone. Good lead block that time by Sean Burton. And then you see the moves in the open field of Ontario Smith. The lead block by Burton right there. Excellent job against Lance Briggs.
38-yard run down to the 5. Smith. No signal yet.
One of those deals where the body crossed the plane, but the ball never crossed the goal line.
Like Culpepper last week when he was stripped.
Exactly. Culpepper's body was in the end zone. The ball never went across the end zone line. It's a cutback run here. This is their gut run. Their signature run here, gut right behind the left guard, Lewinsky. You see that ball never, his legs were down before the ball crossed the line. Boy, Todd Johnson almost pulled that ball out.
Culpepper looks to take it in himself. Touchdown!
Vikings inside of a yard, that's their play. They like to run Pepper on a quarterback sneak. Outside a yard, they'll do something else. Inside of 1 yard, they feel the big guy, with the push they get up front, is good money to score.
Set up by 2 big plays, 44 yards from Culpepper to Moss, and the 38-yard run by Ontario Smith.
I tell you, Culpepper isn't getting that ball pulled out by anybody. He's got 5 points of pressure on that thing. He's not letting it go.
Even on the sidelines. Based on your demonstration earlier, I bet if you were down there, you could rip it out.
Nobody's ripping that ball out of his hands.
27th rushing touchdown of Culpepper's 6-year career. Dante Culpepper ran it in from 1 yard out, extending the Minnesota Vikings lead. It is now 17-6. Aaron Elling kicks off to Bernard Berrien from 2 yards deep in the end zone. Berrien stopped a yard shy of the 20.
Little rumble after that play, and here comes a flag. Mike Green at the bottom of that pile. I mean, he's one of the healthy guys left in that Bears secondary.
Kenny Mixon picked him up and
threw him out of there.
Threw him out of there.
Because of the injury to the Bears, they're forced to play a lot of starters, aren't special teams. A guy like Mike Green covering kicks, playing every down on defense. His conditioning will be tested throughout the day and throughout this streak when these guys are banged up back there.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Leaping onto the pile on the defense, number 57. Excuse me, the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. They retain possession. First down.
57 is Olin Kreutz.
Yeah, I think Olin Kreutz heard that and go, wait a second, get the call right. I am not on any kickoff return team. Just, like an offensive lineman not getting any respect. Yeah. Olin Kreutz just, he's like, I wasn't out there, Mike Carey. The referee, get it right. There he is, still giving him some lip there. Hey, I wasn't out there. Now here's 97 right here, maybe. Michael Haynes, who pushed at the end of the play.
So Rex Grossman and the Bears start from their own 9-yard line. Play action on first down. Wow, nearly intercepted, and it's caught by David Terrell. Antoine Winfield went for it, and Terrell able to make the catch for a 19-yard pickup.
All right, look, Kenny, that's the 4th reception by a Bear wide receiver today. Last week, they only had 3 catches. You're down 11. It's nice to run the ball and play keep away, but you need points, and you need touchdowns. And the points have to come from your receivers, from your explosive players. So they've got to get the ball down the field to the wide receivers here in this half if they want to win this football game.
From the 29, Grossman to the air again. Wow. And the catch is made in Vikings territory by Bobby Wade, who beat Antoine Winfield on the play.
Well, they've just gone after Antoine Winfield 2 plays in a row successfully. And Antoine Winfield is their best cornerback. Winfield working that double move. Remember, the defensive coordinator this week, Ted Cottrell, said Antoine Winfield never gets beat on a double move. We just got beat on that double move. And Rex Grossman has just thrown 2 beautiful passes.
Bears have gone 60 yards in 2 plays. 41 yards to Bobby Wade. There's Jones. Down to the 27-yard line, gain of 4. Dontarius Thomas on the tackle.
Well, the leading receiver, in the first half was Thomas Jones. I mean, they're getting the ball to the running backs, haven't gotten the ball to a tight end. Just now, kind of opening things up with the wide receivers. It's nice to kind of play and manage a game and play for the win when you have a lead like they did last week in Green Bay. Now down these points, down 2 scores. You have to open things up a little bit more. And it's a Good opportunity for Rex Grossman to show you that he can more than just manage a game. Here, an empty backfield spreading the Vikings out.
2nd and 6.
Nice throw.
To the outside, caught by Berrien, his 2nd catch, and he has the 1st down.
Rex Grossman, you know, when we spoke with him yesterday, had a nice meeting, nice chat with him, and he said that he likes that empty set, you know, with no running backs, but he likes to shift to it, because when you shift and move, the defense will show you where they're going. You can tell if it's a man-to-man or if it's a zone just by who goes out to cover the back or the tight end that shifts.
And you saw Grossman has already thrown 17 passes today, only 18 the entire game last week, as Jones takes it down to the 17-yard line. Grossman told us once we got up 21-3 in Green Bay, my primary thought was just don't lose the game.
Well, he said that, you know, he came out of Florida in the SEC, and he said there was no greater feeling than going on the road and winning in hostile territory. And he said he had that same feeling last week in Green Bay, going up there and quieting the crowd, a little bit like the crowd is right now. He said that was as much fun as anything else.
2nd down and 8 from the Vikings 18. Grossman can't find anybody. There is a flag, now fires. And Terrell was forced out. So that is a catch. And a force out cannot be challenged.
It's going to be a hold, though, Kenny, by the offensive line of Chicago. Kevin Williams got a lot of penetration from the Minnesota Vikings.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Steve Edwards, the right guard.
Got a tough assignment. He's blocking Kevin Williams inside here. And you see Kevin Williams, when he run, oh, that's a bad call. Kevin Williams fell on his own. He tripped on the inside offensive tackle. That's a good call. That's a good call on the catch and the force out. Force out is if the receiver could come down in bounds without being pushed, but is then pushed out of bounds.
4 wide receivers. Bobby Wade in motion. 2nd and 19 from the 28. And the give to Jones. And Jones picks up 8 down to the 20. Thomas, the tackle, setting up 3rd down and 11 for offensive coordinator Terry Shea and the Bears.
You know, you're down here at the 21-yard line. You're down 11. Edinger, this is his range for field goal. I mean, you have to be aggressive with this ball. None of this check down stuff. You're better off. You got a bunch formation up at the top here. 3 by 1 set, 1 down here. Put 4 receivers out here.
Bears have to get to the 9 for a 1st down. Grossman's pass deflected and then nearly intercepted by Brian Williams. So the Bears will send out the field goal unit.
It's a similar situation that the Vikings were in on Monday night, down 17-6. They kicked the field goal to make it 17-9. Pretty good drive by the Bears, though. They got the ball down the field. They took some chances. Shorter quarterbacks, like Rex Grossman, are always going to get more passes tipped at the line of scrimmage than taller guys, like Culpepper.
Edinger, 2 for 2 today. This a 39-yard attempt. Wide to the right. Just missed. Well, if he plays for the Vikings, he could have had his choice of different shades of purple. From the 29, Culpepper to Moss. 1st down, gain of 12. Well, Brian, I think the Voorhees Vikings are finally ready.
Here they are. This is how you double team a player.
The best receivers get double teamed almost every single play. And this is how defenses do it. They do it with a cornerback in the front and the safety behind. So when the receiver runs a route, ready, go. He's got the cornerback behind him, and he's got the safety in front of him, and they clamp the receiver.
What are we going to do today? What are we going to do today?
Yeah, there we go. A double box, so look at the double teaming and the run up the middle.
So far, pretty good job on double teaming Randy Moss today. Had the one explosive play in the last series down the middle. You know, the Bears are one of those defenses that take their middle linebacker and they run him down the middle of the field, almost become a deep safety. Urlacher was great at it because of his speed. They've only gotten one shot on Hunter Hillemeyer here today. To me, that's a matchup that they can win with Randy Moss again.
Second and a long 6. Culpepper to Ontario Smith. And how about the block thrown by Burleson on Hillenmeyer?
Yeah, I tell you, guys are working for each other here. Good teamwork here. And Nate Burleson, and Moss sees it too. Watch this block by Burleson, who's up here in the slot. Culpepper does a good job of beating the blitz, and boom, knocked the middle linebacker right off his feet. You know, Hillemeyer has been used to hit like that on special teams, running down, covering kicks, but hadn't been hit like that at middle linebacker yet this season.
Especially by a wide receiver. How many times do you think we'll roll that tape back this week?
Defense number 98, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty is still first down.
Kenny, this whole time right here, I mean, the Bears jumping off sides right there, getting their middle linebacker clock. It's pivotal in this game right now where we're at because the Vikings are on the verge right here of just blowing this thing open. It's critical that the Bears right now find some way to stop it. The momentum is in the Vikings' favor. They haven't had a turnover here since the first quarter. If you're the Bears right now, that's what you're looking to do.
1st and 5 following the penalty. Smith hit for a loss by Lance Briggs. Loss of 2 on the play. Smith has a suspension looming for violating the NFL substance abuse program. But the Vikings also expecting to get Michael Bennett back pretty soon.
It's almost going to like be passing on the baton. I mean, Michael Bennett has been practicing with the team. They've got a bye week next week. When they come back getting ready for Houston after the bye, Michael Bennett should be ready to go.
2nd down and 7 from the 35. Smith. And Ontario Smith picks up the first down to the 25-yard line.
The Vikings scored in the last drive. This is how they did it. I mean, an explosive play over the middle to Moss against Hunter Hillemeyer. And then Ontario Smith ripping off the left side behind Lewinsky and McKinney. That put him down inside the 5-yard line. And then Culpepper with the quarterback sneak. Pretty vintage Viking offense right there. This is that area of the field where they have struggled the last 2 years, getting points and finishing drives.
Play action. Dumping it off to Smith, his 6th catch today. And Smith takes it down to the 13. Not only does Ontario Smith, Brian, have 71 yards on the ground, and he remains down. Also over 100 yards receiving today for Smith.
Yeah, he's been a great check down and safety valve for Culpepper.
Vikings on the move down at the Bears' 13-yard line with 3.5 left in the 3rd.
Heinrich, yeah.
That turf. One way to get Ontario Smith out of the game.
Mo Williams has checked in, replacing Smith in the Vikings backfield. From the 13, penalty markers. Kelly Campbell lost the football, and it's picked up by Hillenmeyer. Gets it back to Lance Briggs. Another flag comes in. The big question is, was the original penalty against the Vikings or the Bears down at the line of scrimmage?
See what Mike Carey has to say, but that's exactly what the Bears needed right there, a turnover to stay into this football game. Great penetration and by the Bears to disrupt that play. There's a couple fouls. There was a foul, I think, before the fumble, and then after the fumble down the field, there was another foul. Urlacher enjoying it. And his play saved the Bears last week as Amon Green was going into a touchdown, knocked the ball loose. Here's the penetration up the field here by Alex Brown. Stopped that play. Actually, that was Michael Haynes.
There's only one foul on the play, and that's an illegal shift by the offense as they climb.
Bears ball.
The recovery is correct, and there's no foul for illegal pass. The handoff was side to side. First down.
Michael Haynes forced the fumble. It was picked up by Hillenmeyer, and he handed it off to Lance Briggs during the return.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Bears. That's the way they want to play the game. They forced that play. Vikings getting a little aggressive here on the reverse. Quick penetration will always destroy a reverse. Michael Haynes right there. I mean, never got a chance to get both hands on it. Hillenmeyer picking up where Urlacher left off last week. Here's Hillenmeyer right here. As soon as that ball is out, the Bears practice scoring every single day in practice. And they'll do this in practice, hand off to another guy, keep the play going. They did it last week after the forced fumble by Urlacher, and Michael Brown picked it up and went 95 yards for a touchdown.
And from day one of training camp, they also practice running to loose balls, even on incomplete passes.
Yeah, just get them used to getting to the football. It's a mindset that Lovie Smith brought with him from St. Louis.
From the 49, off the fingertips, dropped by Jones. Another flag comes in.
Illegal contact, defense number 21. The 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Corey Chavis, former teammate of Thomas Jones in Arizona.
Yeah, he said that he always thought Thomas Jones was a great guy that had a great jump cut. You know, Dorsett had a jump cut, a guy that could plant on both feet and then just go laterally 2, 3, 4 yards and make people miss and then still explode. He said he's very explosive in the 0 to 10-yard range, getting in and out of cuts, getting in and out of the hole.
From the 44, following the penalty. Over the top to the tight end, John Gilmore. Now, speaking of Tony Dorsett, it was in this dome back in January of '83 when Tony Dorsett set an NFL record, a 99-yard run with Brian Baldinger, my partner, at right guard.
Yeah, it was actually right from this end zone. Went right down that sideline. Drew Pearson threw a block down there, longest run in NFL history right here.
99 yards for the Cowboys against the Vikings. From the 33, Thomas Jones,
out.
He lost it, but
out.
it's fallen on by Kasim Mitchell, the left tackle.
Man, when offensive linemen are hustling and they're running downfield, this is what happens. You end up picking up a loose ball like that. A huge play by Big Q. Watch Kasim Mitchell here. I mean, watch the whole play here. Did a good job of coming down on Hovan. Now watch him. Now he's going down the field. He's hustling. That's not easy agility there. 350 pounds. Being able to dive over the pile there to find the loose ball. Save that drive.
Mitchell picked up an extra yard. Jones up the middle. Looks to have the first down. So the Bears trying to capitalize on the Vikings turnover.
Well, I tell you, Q, I mean, you look at plays, and I don't know how this is going to work out today, but you look at plays that are pivotal and key. That hustle right there by Q was huge for the Bears. Here's a guy who's really struggled the last week and a half. His father passed away, missed a day of practice last week, played his best game last week against the Packers and playing pretty good here today.
That Thomas, a retired U.S. Marine, passed away a week and a half ago, missed a day of practice. Played well up at Green Bay. From the 22 on first down, the pitch to Jones. And Jones takes it out of bounds. No gain on the play. 44 seconds remaining, third quarter.
Yeah, they ran right behind Q that time. You know, he had the rookie, Udeza, on the outside here. This is blocked right here. Udeza does a good job of penetrating. Got his hands out of there in time, so they didn't call a hold. Pretty good matchup right there. Two young players.
Three wide receivers. Terrell split to the left. Wade and Berrien to the right. Jones down to the 15-yard line.
Right behind Q. This is Kasim's drive here, Kenny. Got right on his hip pocket, pushing him along the way. Again, you know, we said that the offensive line had to control the line of scrimmage for the Bears to have a chance to win up here today. Thomas Jones coming up on 100 yards, 18 carries for 90 yards. Every offensive line trying to get his back 100 yards in this league on a Sunday.
3 quarters in the books here in Minneapolis. We'll return after these messages from your local Fox station.
He fumbled, but Kasim Mitchell, who's having an excellent series right here, was hustling and fell on that football. Vikings had a chance to get that ball back, and Culpepper was talking about what they're going to do in the next series. I remember listening to Randy Moss of Monday night telling Dante Culpepper, lead us, Dante, lead us. Culpepper trying to become a bigger leader on this team.
Vikings need a stop from their defense here. 3rd down and 3. Grossman backpedaling, now rolling to his right. He's in trouble, and he throws it out of bounds.
Well, I tell you, we said in week 1 against Detroit that the receivers here, young receivers here in Chicago, don't do a good job of coming back to help out Rex Grossman when a play breaks down. Let's take a look at these guys on the outside and see who comes back when Grossman has trouble finding somebody down the field. 4 receivers out there. Who's working back to the football here? Who wants it? It's a chance to get an easy reception. Coming back, you've got to get in the quarterback's vision for him to be able to see it.
Paul Ettinger, Brian, 2 for 3 today, just 2 of 5 on the season. 32-yard attempt. And this one is good. So the Bears, early in the 4th quarter, pulled to within 8.
To the Ring of Honor here. Guy that was actually drafted by the Bears and traded by Papa Bear Hallis to the Vikings in 1964. Had a great career here. He was one of those backs you'd root for. You know, him and Dave Osborne, Boom Boom Brown.
The ball was kicked before it was made ready for play. We'll redo the kickoff.
So what year did you work at the Met?
I was here in the mid-70s, 74, 75, but grew up a Viking fan, you know, over there. I can't look at that Mall of America right now because that's where Metropolitan Stadium was. Well, both teams were on the same sideline over here. You know, they didn't have opposite sidelines. A lot of cold days. Mountains of snow, that's what I remember, walking through the parking lot.
And the Vikings have actually played more years now here in the Metrodome.
Yes, they did.
Than at the
Metropolitan Stadium, yeah. Yeah, I tell you, those were some fun days. That was where tailgating was in vogue right there. And the colder the weather, the bigger the fans were. Remember, Bud Graham wouldn't allow any heaters on the sideline for Boom Boom Brown or Carl Eller. It was what you would say it was old-time football back then.
Bud Grant, the answer to what I think is the greatest sports trivia question.
And the question is?
The only man to coach in a Super Bowl and win an NBA championship as a player. Played for the Minneapolis Lakers.
Sure. Minneapolis Lakers before they moved to Los Angeles.
Where's Bud today? Iceland?
He's fishing in Iceland. Fishing or hunting, or doing both of them in Iceland. There's no ice on the ground here, so he had to go to Iceland to find it.
Kelly Campbell from the 5. Big return for Campbell. There's a flag. Campbell down the sideline. Stepped out of bounds at the 1, but there was a flag during the early portion of this return.
You see a glimpse of Kelly Campbell's speed. Even though his play is going to come back, Kelly Campbell wants to get a little celebrating in before he has to go back and start this offensive series. Some costly mistakes by the Vikings today.
There were 2 fouls on the play, both on the receiving team. Holding number 54 is declined, and a legal block in the back by number 89 is accepted. 10-yard penalty. They retain possession. First down. Timeout.
Both those guys are rookies as well, Kenny.
Thomas and Owens.
Units per transaction.
Due to the penalties called on Thomas and Owens, Vikings start from their own 25. Leading 17-9. Ontario Smith, who has had a huge day. There's another flag. There have already been 18 penalties accepted today. This will be number 19.
Illegal motion. Offense number 84. The 5-yard penalty is still first down.
So here's the touchdown that got called back on the kickoff return by Kelly Campbell. You're going to have a hold up here by Dontarius Thomas, and then you're going to have a hold right here by Owens. A little questionable call, but boy, flags came from every direction. Guys saw it from their angles. Kelly Campbell should be the kickoff returner, though. I mean, his speed is second to none, and that's what you want from that position.
From the 20, following the penalty, Smith. A couple of nice moves, takes it out to the 31-yard line, gain of 11.
And I tell you, Ontario's going to be suspended for 4 games, and it's probably going to be sometime around now as the Vikings get ready for their bye week. They get ready to play Houston in 2 weeks, and it looks like Ontario wants to leave a good impression here before he takes a 4-week sabbatical. Michael Bennett right there on the sidelines. He's looking at Ontario's moves going, I have those moves, I'm getting healthy. The knee's coming back, it's getting strong.
From the 31, Culpepper, Moss.
Watch out.
Into Bears territory. Out of bounds at the 37-yard line after a gain of 32.
And no flags. I mean, you almost have to say that after every big Viking play today. R.W. McQuarters is trying to chase him. You don't even see 21 in your screen. He's so far away from him.
Very Randy, baby. Yeah!
Ryan, the 39th career 100-yard day for Moss, one shy of Chris Carter's team record.
Chris Carter came to watch that game on the Vikings sideline Monday night in Philadelphia.
Nice catch by the tight end, Owens. Did Culpepper pull the hidden ball trick there?
Well, he did. I mean, he hit it. He did a little magician trick, but I tell you, there's not many quarterbacks in the league that have the arm strength to then push the ball down the field to Owens. Because he was falling off of one leg, not set. Nice little ball fake right there, but that little flick right there went about 20 yards down the field.
Kelly Campbell shaken up. Bears, the former Bear Marcus Robinson out for the Vikings, left hamstring injury. Keenan Howry now in at wide receiver. That pass intended for Burleson, who took a hard hit from Todd Johnson. And there is a flag. Johnson and Green on the coverage. Some extracurricular activity.
This is looking a lot like the black and blue division. They better get a hold of this thing. Mike Green is going to get himself thrown out of this game. They can't afford that.
Dante Culpepper right in the middle of it, trying to play the role of peacemaker.
I mean, Todd Johnson is known for big hits. He's knocked himself out when he was at the University of Florida. No love lost between these teams. They still don't have this thing under control. No, you take your helmet off in the field of play. That's a penalty. One of the officials got poked in the eye, I think. That's the back judge, maybe Keith Ferguson there.
Yes.
Well, you touch an official in this league, you're automatically thrown out.
Unnecessary roughness on the defense, number 34. Munch leading with the helmet.
Actually 32. Yeah, Todd Johnson.
15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
You're going to see Todd Johnson's right here. He's playing center field. He breaks on the ball. Nice. Yeah. You know, he dropped on his shoulder here. I tell you, that late hit ruined a great play by Todd McMillan. Todd McMillan played that ball perfectly. And all that stuff in there, no flags to any of that, which is probably the right thing to do. Everybody looks like they're all doing about the same thing.
Come on, guys, help me.
A 15-yard penalty on Johnson. Line of scrimmage now, the 15-yard line of the Bears.
You see the Vikings missed opportunities inside the 30 today. 2 missed field goals, one because of a botched snap, fumble.
Culpepper did a 360, then handed it off to Smith, tripped up, took it down to the 6.
The Vikings are going to hate to lose Ontario Smith. I mean, he just looks like he keeps getting more and more explosive as this game goes on. They spent a lot of time in this area of the field in practice on Friday, trying to get the ball in the end zone and not making mistakes.
Second down and 1. 3 wide receivers. Culpepper to the end zone off the fingertips of Moss.
You know, the Vikings do something down here that Mike Tice was telling me about on Friday when I was talking to him. They'll call a run play, and everybody will run the run play. But if Dante Culpepper thinks he can get the ball to Randy Moss like that, he won't tell anybody. He'll just throw the ball to Moss. And the running back will think he's going to get the ball's going to the wide receiver. It's almost like Mike Tice told me. He said, we can't be wrong. We're either going to Moss or we're handing it off.
Vikings called timeout. They lead 17-9. Vikings looking to extend their 8-point lead. 3rd down and 1 from the Chicago 6. Culpepper asking for quiet from the crowd. Moss in motion. Rolling right. Culpepper threw it away as he was heading out of bounds, so the Vikings will send out the field goal unit.
Yeah, I know. Look, that was great coverage by Chicago. I mean, they plastered Randy Moss. They ran a sprint out that way because they were trying to buy as much time as possible, make the play last as long as possible. Just great coverage on the outside by Mike Green. And so they took the receivers away, but that's 3rd and 1. You know, that's almost 2-down territory. Just get the first down on that by Culpepper. If it's not there, go run it, get the first down, get a new set of downs. But the last thing that the Vikings want to do here is settle for a Morton Anderson field goal.
Anderson 1 for 2. Farad had problems with the last snap. This time it's good. From 24 yards out. Vikings now lead by 11. In this 4th quarter.
Culpepper and Moss both having very good days today. Moss going over 100 yards receiving, got the touchdown. Culpepper's been outstanding under pressure through most of the day. The dynamic duo of those two.
Aaron Elling's kickoff taken at the 6 by Bernard Berrien. 15-yard return out to the 21. Bears back on offense. When we come back, they have not yet been able to reach the end zone.
Gus Farad, missed opportunities here for the Vikings. A fumble on a reverse. Chicago did a good job of forcing that. Get a kickoff return by Kelly Campbell, which would have been the first of his career. That got called back. Flags everywhere. A couple of penalties brought that play back. Sort of been the story of the Vikings here early in the season. Very nice performance against the Cowboys here 2 weeks ago, but stumbled Monday night. trying to beat themselves, and here in this game, chance to have put Chicago away a while ago. The Vikings defense right here with the lead. You'd think that they would play aggressive and go after Rex Grossman, force him into a turnover and try and put this thing on ice right now.
Bears start from their own 21. Grossman looking downfield on first down. Instead, he takes off and slides out to the 27 for a gain of 6.
As again, Rex Grossman out of the pocket. I've seen this now in all 3 games the Bears have played this year. Rex Grossman out of the pocket, looking for some help, looking for a friend, somebody to throw the ball to. Nobody coming back to the football. A guy like David Terrell now, after the loss of Marty Booker in the trade, they're looking what a number 1 receiver does, and why you call him a number 1 is they're a great blocker, they're a big guy, you go to him in a big moment, but then those guys love to get the ball, and they can feel when a play breaks down, and they break off their pattern and come back to help the quarterback.
Empty backfield, second down and 4. Over the top for the tight end, Justin Lyman, for a Bears first down, out to the 36. Bears wide receivers, only 6 catches today.
Not a lot of opportunities.
Terrell has 2 of the 6 after he was shut out last week by the Packers. From the 36 on first down. Grossman with Jones, he dropped it. Tried to run before he had possession.
Well, I think they got to find more ways to get Thomas Jones the ball. I know they're down by 11 here, but really, Thomas Jones, as a receiver, has made a number of big plays this year already from the running back position. I think that's one guy they can use. I just see him bringing Brian Johnson in. I mean, they got to use whoever they can right now. Thomas Jones has 4 catches for 37 yards, but that's a matchup problem. Basically, linebackers can't cover Thomas Jones.
Jones now split to the left. Movement prior to the snap.
Both the defensive end and the offensive tackle jumped. Who jumped first? You see, he got one on the offense and one on the defense, I think. I think Mike Tyson's seen enough flags today.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 95 jumped into the neutral zone, causing an immediate reaction by an offensive player. It's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
There's Kenichi right here. He made a move into the neutral zone here. That area where the ball is, and that forced Kasim to move, the left tackle.
Kenichi Udeza, the first-round pick out of USC.
He's going to be a good player. Okay, I like watching him play. Plays with a big motor. Here's a guy that lost 100 pounds from when he was in high school to when he graduated from USC last year.
From the 41, Grossman takes off. Has the first down out to the 49-yard line as we send it west one more time to James Brown in Los Angeles. JB.
All right, Kenny, I know you're all on top of baseball. Look at this. Kerry Woods with the bases loaded in the bottom of the first. Walks in the run. That spelled the difference. And the Cubs lost to the Mets. They are now tied in the wild card race with the San Francisco Giants, 87-68. The regular season ends next Sunday. We'll keep you abreast. Back to Kenny.
All right, JB, that National League wild card race going right down to the wire. Thomas Jones into Vikings territory to the Minnesota 48.
Cub fans hanging on, aren't they? A nail biter all the way down to the final week of the season.
While the Minnesota Twins have already clinched the playoff berth.
The Twins are going to be playing some playoff games here. I think by the time the playoffs finish, the World Series ends, it's going to be snow all over the streets here in Minnesota. They got a lot of baseball to be played.
Empty backfield from the 48. Terrell, first down, there's a flag. Interesting scenario. If the Twins make it to the World Series, The Vikings are scheduled to play their next 2 home games, October 24th and 31st. The days of games 2 and 7
motion
of the World Series.
Offense number 20 going forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty is still second down.
And by virtue of the American League winning the All-Star game, the Twins would have home field advantage, and the most likely scenario would be for those Vikings games to move to Monday.
Maybe you could play a doubleheader, Kenny. Maybe you could play a baseball game in the morning and move the football game to the afternoon, and the fans could get a double dose.
Not sure how happy our bosses would be with the morning World Series game.
Not crazy about that.
From the 46. Nice catch on the low throw made by Lyman. Out of bounds at the 46.
Now, Rex Grossman is about 6 feet tall. And, you know, for guys that are a little challenged, vertically challenged, they've got to throw between these trees here, between these defensive linemen. It's hard to throw over them. So the best thing to do is get in this guy's vision right here. But the Vikings consistently give Rex Grossman a lane to step up to where he gets good vision to find a receiver. And there's a lot of ways they can do that. They can stunt in here, bring linemen in the middle. They can blitz here from the linebacker position. But the worst thing for Rex Grossman is when he gets hands right in his face.
Timeout, Minnesota.
Vikings call a timeout. They were all confused on defense. So a timeout with 7:46 remaining in the fourth.
To see geeks out there, fantasy football geeks, going to watch that one.
From the 46, Bears need 5 yards for a first down, and they get it. Thomas Jones down to the 32-yard line of the Vikings.
Well, I tell you, he got good protection that time. You see Mitchell getting up limping. The offensive line gave Rex Grossman a couple extra seconds there to find Thomas Jones. The Vikings blitz right here from depth. Brian Russell coming from the secondary. Like you see Mitchell made Brian Russell take the long way around Manhattan to get there. By doing so, allowed Rex Grossman a little extra time to hang on to the ball.
From the 33.
Justin Gage.
He's got it. He was down at the 1.
What, Justin Gage, only a second catch of the year and been just disappeared the last 2 weeks. The explosive play that the Bears have been looking for all day. Again, good protection. And he gets sandwiched by Chavis from the slot. Got exactly what they wanted. Right down the middle of the field, a little bit of opening, and that was a beautiful throw by Grossman. Gage wants to know why it wasn't a touchdown.
3 tight ends. Jones. He's in for the touchdown. Thomas Jones with his 4th touchdown run.
They should go for 2 here, Kenny. You know, that touchdown makes it 2015. You might as well go for 2, try to make it 2017, make it a field goal difference in a game. And teams practice this 2-point conversion. There should be no confusion here. Step in a huddle, call the play. They have a list of 5 or 6 plays they run for 2-minute conversions. A lot of times you see teams that are confused and they go for it. You should know before a drive starts whether you're going for 2 or going for 1.
Terrell split to the left. Wade and Gage to the right. Gage comes in motion. 2-point conversion attempt. Grossman. And stopped short is Justin Gage. Keith Newman coming up to make the tackle.
Thought there was a defensive player offsides on that, but I don't see a flag. Looked to me like I thought it was Kenny Mixon that was in the neutral zone. Mike Carey said Lovie Smith thinks there was somebody that jumped off sides.
Sure looked like it.
That was an offsides.
Mike, can I talk to you for a second?
Offsides right there. The Bears should have had another play. Half the distance to the goal, and they should have had another shot for a 2-point conversion. Half the distance to that goal line.
Earlier today, Rex Grossman threw a pass, which the official said was tipped. So the flag for pass interference is picked up, but certainly not tipped. As we took a look at replays, Keenan Howery out to the 33. So the Vikings with a 5-point lead get the ball back with 6:15 remaining.
Look, I tell you, for the fantasy football fanatics out there, take a look at these three guys that somebody had. Big days by everybody. Culpepper almost 300 yards passing. Ontario Smith 128 all-purpose yards, and then Randy Moss got a touchdown and over 100 yards receiving.
From the 33-yard line. Culpepper to Nate Burleson. Still on his feet. Off to the races. One man to beat. It's McCorders. A penalty marker as Burleson is finally dragged down at the 3, and McCorders got a piece of his face mask as well.
Well, I think Burleson saw that graphic that we just put up and said, wait a second, make room for me. You're going to double team Randy Moss and concentrate on Ontario Smith. Let me get in on the action.
Major face mask on the defense, number 21. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
A 64-yard catch and run by Burleson.
Burleson working on Todd McMillan. Got good separation. And this is where he's good. He's good after the catch. Breaks a couple of tackles, and that's what you can't allow happen to the Minnesota Viking receivers, is you can't let them get the yards after the catch. They're going to make their catches, but you have to tackle them at the spot.
Culpepper over 300 for the game. Looking end zone. Looking for Randy Moss, and he overthrew him.
You know, when you look at the Minnesota Vikings and you get down to inside the 2-yard line, it's not a guarantee that they're going to get a touchdown. Mike Tice knows it. I mean, you can bet that he's working that gum a little bit harder down here. Just the way he was working them in practice on Friday in this area of the field for about a half hour.
Second and goal. Culpepper to the end zone. No catch. Burleson, the intended receiver, good effort, could not hold on to it.
Mike said that, you know, if they're not inside the 1-yard line, he'd rather throw the ball than run it. And that's from an offensive line coach that, you know, you would have thought that run the football down here. It was a nice throw by Culpepper. I mean, that's just a drop. Dante put that ball right on the money. There you see 5 possessions in the red zone today, 2 touchdowns, 2 missed opportunities.
Third and goal, Moss comes in motion. Culpepper wide open for the touchdown, Randy Moss. 2 touchdowns, and he's given that same fan the football both times.
Yeah. It's a nice drive by the Vikings. You know, the Bears come up, make it a 1-possession game. They go right down the field, and those 2 guys take them down the field. Little help from Nate Burleson, but the offense delivered.
Morton Anderson adding the point after. 5th touchdown reception of the season for Moss. He led the NFL with 17 last year. We take one more look.
That's like a double pick there. You know, look at R.W. McCorders trying to catch up to him man-to-man. Got 2 receivers over there. That's like a double pick in basketball, trying to get Kobe Bryant the ball.
And Randy played basketball in high school.
Yeah. Didn't play a little semi-pro basketball one off season too?
Yeah!
Now he's getting his roll on right there. Yeah, finishing drives here in the 4th quarter. Randy knows that it's more than just a 1-person effort. Knows that the offensive line had a lot to do with it. You know, and Randy said that, told me this offseason, that when he used to get upset at Dante is when teams would double team him and take him out of the game, and other guys wouldn't step up and make the plays. And he goes, look, if nobody else is going to make the play, then just throw me the ball even though I'm covered. But now you see the help that Ontario Smith is giving him, that Nate Burleson just gave him on that drive. Other guys are helping him out right now when he gets, you know, the double and the triple coverage that he so often sees.
Elling kicks it off. Taken 3 yards deep by Berrien. Bernard Berrien out to the 37-yard line. 39 yards on the return. Here was Randy Moss's pregame prediction earlier today.
Oh. And oh yeah, I'm going for the game ball today. I'm going for the game ball today, so however you want to do it.
Spoken with a lot of confidence. 2 touchdowns, over 130 yards in receptions.
Think you might get one?
Yeah, I think he's deserving of one today. I think Dante is. Ontario, I mean, they're going to give out a lot of game balls on a day like today.
By the way, we don't want to shortchange Ontario Smith. He has 195 total yards.
I'm glad we got that straight.
Grossman, soft touch, Thomas Jones. And Jones out to the 48-yard line. Gain of 8.
Well, the Bears should be in a hurry-up mode. I mean, they shouldn't be huddling up right now. They should be at the line of scrimmage, calling the play at the line of scrimmage. The clock is not their friend right now, ticking down to just about the 5-minute mark.
Jones again. Bears followed the game plan to a T in the first quarter without Urlacher and 4 other starters on the defensive side. They controlled the ball. Their opening possession lasted nearly 7 minutes, but were unable to reach the end zone until this fourth quarter and find themselves down by 12. Catch made by Bobby Wade, and he's forced back by second-round pick out of Auburn, Ontarius Thomas.
I'll tell you what Rex Grossman has here. He's got a good running back, and that offensive line is sound. And they're going to get better. They're going to get Gandy back and maybe Rex Tucker back. But the offensive line has played well today. They've protected Grossman very well, given him extra time to try to find a receiver. You know, the shortcoming of this team right now is they don't have explosive players at the wideout position. They're young. They're inexperienced. We've seen some of that today. And Rex Grossman doesn't have a lot of help right now. But there's some building blocks here with this football team.
Under 4 minutes remaining, second down and 7. Pump fake. Grossman looking for Berrien. Incomplete. Brian Williams on the coverage for the Vikings.
Well, I mean, Berrien's the guy, that the rookie that they're high on because of his speed, but he has to learn how to play the position. There's just so much to learn, and the problem is, for a guy like Berrien, who's he going to learn from? I mean, David Terrell is a young player. He's still trying to figure out his way. Bobby Wade and Justin Gage are young players, so there's not a veteran guy. Remember, like when Chris Carter was here in Minnesota, he was teaching Randy Moss a lot of the tricks.
Bears had a veteran in Marty Booker, but they traded him to Miami for Gunlia. 4 wide receivers, and they keep it on the ground with Thomas Jones, who picks up the first down to the 38-yard line, and Jones is over the 100-yard mark now with 103 today. Gained 152 yards on the ground last week at Green Bay. Bobby Wade, another Bears first down, takes it all the way down to the 22-yard line. Eagles in a rout over the Lions with 2 minutes to go, and the Eagles will be the next opponent, Brian, for the Chicago Bears next Sunday at Soldier Field.
Yeah, you know, and it's going to be a tough day for the defense there because McNabb just has so many weapons right now.
Grossman over the top to Jones.
This is a good drive, though, by Chicago. I mean, taking this ball down the field, they need to get this thing in the end zone if they can before the 2-minute drill. And then go play, you know, for the onside kick. Fighting and scrapping for everything right now.
4 wide receivers.
This group up here has protected Grossman the whole day.
Inside. Hand off to Jones. Takes it down to the 5, gain of 7.
So players get gassed in this 2-minute drill. You know, you look at the defensive guys are not rotating right now. They're just all bent over trying to get themselves a breath right now. You could take advantage of this.
From the 5.
Who wants to help him out? Who wants a touchdown?
Will he try and take it in himself? He fumbles.
Yeah, he does.
I think it was recovered out of bounds by the Vikings, and Grossman is shaken up.
Just indecisive of what he was going to do. Slide, go head first, throw the ball.
And the recovery out of bounds. So the Bears hold on to the football as we hit the 2-minute warning, and Grossman remains down.
Going for the reach. That ball is on the goal line. No possession right there.
If you are a true Vikings fan, you'll want to join the brand new Vikings official fan club. For only $5 or more, you can register as a family.
Rex Grossman heading to the Bears locker room here in Minnesota. Randy Moss extending his hand to Rex. And the Bears will challenge. Now, although we have hit the 2-minute warning, Brian, because the play took place outside the 2-minute warning, it's a coach's challenge, not a booth challenge.
Yeah, well, Lovey should have challenged a couple other calls today, but this one, he should win this challenge. When Rex Grossman touches that goal line with the ball, as soon as that ball crosses the goal line, any part of that strike, that should be a touchdown.
And it looks as if it did touch before Grossman lost possession.
And that's going to be the question. Is they're going to say, does he have possession? But right there, the ball is on. He had his hand on top of the ball, hitting the goal line before the ball came loose.
The ruling on the field was a fumble in the field of play, not a touchdown. It's being challenged by Chicago.
By rule, as soon as that ball crosses the plane, boom. Now it does come loose, but I think that he's got possession when the ball hits the goal line.
I agree. And because it was ruled a fumble prior to Grossman reaching the goal line with the football, there must be indisputable visual evidence for it to be ruled a touchdown. Now, for those of you in the home markets of our late games, in just a moment you will be leaving this game, and we will switch you over to the start of your game. Now, again, after the 2-minute warning, coaches cannot challenge. Any controversial plays are reviewed upstairs, but because this play took place before the clock hit 2 minutes, it is a challenge by Bears head coach Lovie Smith. As we check in downstairs, Jonathan Quinn, backup quarterback, warming up. We check in with Jake Glazer.
Well, guys, they just took Rex Grossman in for x-rays on that right knee. Right now, the Bears are just calling it a sprained right knee, but they carted him off, and they're giving him x-rays in a few minutes.
All right, Jay, so Jonathan Quinn, who has not thrown a pass since 2001, will come into the game if the call is not overturned.
Not a lot of experience at the quarterback position. Jonathan Quinn with only 3 starts, backing up Rex Grossman. Came with Terry Shea from Kansas City.
And those starts were in Jacksonville before he went to the Chiefs.
But he knows this offense, been around this offense, understands the terminology. I think for Lovie Smith, regardless of how this thing turns out today, you got to be impressed with the way that they played, the way the backup players have stepped up and made some plays. Hillemeyer has made some plays. There have been some good coverage today by Todd McMillan. A couple of bad calls against them today. Remember that 2-minute, the 2-point conversion of the last touchdown. Offsides by the Vikings. They missed that call. 2 points right now is huge.
Now, if it is not ruled a touchdown, it will be Bears football at the 3-yard line because the fumble rolled out of bounds before the Vikings could recover. So it will either be a touchdown or a third and about 1.5 yards from the 3.
The ball touches the plane of a goal line. To me, it's a touchdown. By rule and by definition, it should be a touchdown. I'm sure Mike Carey is looking at the possession of it. Was the ball slipping out of his hands as it crossed the plane.
Game 2 of our doubleheader coming up. Most of you will see the Packers and the Colts. Others, the 49ers and the Seahawks.
Just to clear things up for people at home, Kenny, Mike Carey, the referee there, only looks at the same replays that we show on the television right here. Same replays that he's seeing underneath that hood.
After reviewing the play, the ball came loose just after the ball broke the plane of the end zone for a touchdown. Chicago is not charged with a team timeout.
Lovey figured out this replay challenge system here, that if you throw the flag and you believe in what you're seeing, you can get it overturned. It's a good challenge by Lovey that time. They should just kick the extra point here. Try to make this a 5-point game and expect the onside kick from the Bears.
Grossman does not even get to celebrate his first NFL rushing touchdown. He's in the locker room undergoing x-rays.
He's probably just watching it in the TV in the x-ray room right now.
Rex, if you're watching, you scored.
Celebrating with the x-ray technician.
A 6-yard touchdown run, pulling the Bears to within 6. Edinger for the point after. It's now a 5-point game with 2 minutes remaining. Bears hanging in there on the road.
No question. I mean, Mike Tyson's nervous right now. Look at Randy Moss getting the hands team out there.
Bears without Brian Urlacher and many others on the defensive side. Bobby Gray injured.
Another huge day for Thomas Jones, though, and Ontario Smith, both backs. A big day. Randy Moss, a couple of touchdowns. Over 100 yards receiving. Rex Grossman having a good afternoon. Culpepper as well. Over 300 yards passing.
And a great job by our crew as well. Producer Barry Landis, director Michael Frank, our associate director Fran Morrison, broadcast associate Darren Foster, technical producer Kevin McRoby. Pre-game show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer is Bill Brown, our Bill Brown, not the Vikings Bill Brown. And the executive producers Ed Gorin and David Hill.
I'm looking at Randy Moss down there. He's right here. He's in the back line. What Chicago wants is that ball to jump like that in the air, trying to get themselves a jump ball. Randy Moss is in the back there looking for his biggest catch of the day, maybe.
Must go at least 10 yards. It does. It's bouncing around, and it's recovered by the Vikings. Marcus Robinson, who holds the Bears record for receiving yards in one season, able to fall on it.
Well, he was out for most of the day with a bad hamstring, but he got out there to catch this loose ball. This gets through the first wave. Gets by Randy Moss. That's a loose ball right now. Nice job of Marcus Robinson getting on that football. Couldn't catch a ball today, but got himself one on the onside kick here. Bears have 3 timeouts left now.
Brian, we also want to mention 3 members of our crew who are Minnesota natives. Paul Kelly, John Warner, and Randy Carr. Got to stay at home this weekend.
Wait, this is a late flag.
There's an illegal touching of a short kick by the kicking team. That play results in the ball being given to the offense at that spot of illegal touching. First down.
Was it touched prior to the 10-yard mark?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, he gets some.
Hit him in the back.
Yeah, hit him in the back.
Justin Gage.
About the 39-yard line.
Inadvertently hit Justin Gage in the back.
It's the toughest play for officials to officiate.
From the 39, Vikings leading by 5. Ontario Smith, gain of 1, and the Bears use their first time out after Joe Odom made the tackle. 1:54 on the clock. So the minute 54 remaining. It's the Vikings by 5 as we check in once again with Jay.
Well, Kenny and Baldy, on October 4th, that's when Ontario Smith has his appeal hearing for that possible suspension, a 4-game suspension for violating 3 times the National Football League's substance abuse policy. The good news they got, though, however, this week was on Friday, Michael Bennett, he went and got a final clearance from his doctor in Cleveland, so he's ready to go. So if they lose Ontario Smith, they will have Bennett back.
All right, Jay, thanks. That's not a bad option to have. Michael Bennett had a monster year last year. Came back from that broken foot that he had. Suffered in the offseason and got healthy the second half of the season.
Bears have 2 more timeouts. 2nd and 9. Smith again. Tackled at the 36 by Tommy Harris. Bears use their 2nd timeout. Vikings facing a 3rd down and 7 with a minute 48 left to play.
Randy Moss.
Going for the game ball today.
Might get one of those today. He got a couple of touchdowns to help him earn a game ball.
Made it look easy on that one.
Yeah, he's just a difficult guy to defend. I know somebody in the end zone after getting a couple of touchdown balls from Randy Moss today. 5 touchdowns already, first 3 weeks of the season. At 17 last year.
How about Jacksonville? 3-0. They've scored 35 points.
Defense. You know, Philadelphia goes to 3-0 with the resounding defeat of the Detroit Lions. They fall from the unbeaten ranks. St. Louis coming back to beat New Orleans late in that 4th quarter.
3rd down and 7. Bears have 1 timeout remaining. Play action. And Culpepper goes down back at the 39.
That's a bad series by the Vikings. Made the Bears burn all 3 timeouts, but they're going to have to, I would think, punt this ball away right here.
Vikings have not punted today. This would be their first punt. Tommy Harris with his first NFL sack on that last play. So the Bears use all 3 timeouts. That series takes a grand total of 19 seconds.
Darren Bennett, one of the Vikings free agent pickups in the offseason from Australia. He has a funny way of punting the ball when he's trying to just pooch it here. He'll kick this ball end over end, old Australian rules football style. Try to hang that ball up and not allow a return.
10 years ago, Bennett forced to retire from Australian rules football due to 14 career surgeries. Won a contest, an Australian rules contest, won a round trip plane ticket to Los Angeles, drove down to San Diego, showed up at the Chargers complex, and he earned the job.
How do you keep playing with 14 injuries? Any sport. Don't you lose track after a while?
Hasn't had a punt yet today.
There it is. Here's the pooch.
Fair catch, Berrien at the 10. So the Bears, following the 31-yard punt, must go 90 yards in a minute 36 with no timeouts and their backup quarterback in the game.
Well, we'll find out a little bit about Jonathan Quinn. I saw him 4 years ago over in NFL Europe. He was the league's most valuable player for the Berlin Thunder, and since then he's had a couple of starts, but gone a few years when he was at Kansas City, he didn't play at all.
His career numbers: 4 years in Jacksonville, 2 in Kansas City. Completed 69% of his passes in the preseason.
Kenny, this is a key play on a 2-point conversion. That could be the difference right now by the Bears. I mean, it's a chance to cut this to a 3-point lead.
Penalty marker on 1st down as Quinn's pass is nearly intercepted by Brian Williams. Nixon not called for the offsides, although you don't know what would have transpired after that.
Right. Defense number 31 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty is still 1st down.
Russian Jones, the guilty Viking. 12 penalties on each team today.
Yeah, you know, like the Vikings just don't make it easy. One thing about Quinn is he is tall. He's about 6'6". Totally different stature standing back there. Not a mobile guy, can't get away from a rush. A true pocket quarterback.
7th season out of Middle Tennessee State. In for the injured Grossman. Pass too high, intended for Justin Gage. Russian Jones on the coverage.
Here's the thing, there's no timeouts for Chicago. So any kind of pass down the middle of the field, they've got to get right up to the line of scrimmage, get set, make a decision whether to spike it, kill the clock, or have the play run and ready to go. You fit the ball to the outside, you can get out of bounds and stop the clock. You're the Viking defenders, you want to funnel everything in here.
Everybody out. Quinn airing it out off the fingertips of Gage.
The other thing you want to play for, if you're the Chicago Bears, is any kind of illegal contact or pass interference. Again, good protection for Quinn. Good thing Justin Gage got a hand on that. Brian Russell might have got himself his first interception of the year.
Third down and 5. 4 wide receivers for the Bears. Quinn's pass deflected, incomplete. Again, looking for Gage. Down to 1:16. No timeouts remaining. Bears must go for it on 4th and 5.
They're throwing it to the sidelines where they try to get the first down here. I think that ball was tipped. Justin Gage was almost out of bounds right there.
Fourth and 5. Quinn under pressure. Down he goes. Kevin Williams puts the exclamation point on what will be the Vikings' second victory of this young season.
Well, Kevin Williams is their playmaker up front, and although the Bears did a great job pass protecting all day, that's the biggest play by the defensive line today. Kevin Williams beat the young Steve Edwards. No help, one-on-one, got him to the outside. Made the play that puts this game on ice for the Vikings. We should just take a knee here for 2 plays and run this clock out.
There's one. No timeouts remaining for Chicago. We send it west to JB.
All right, Kenny, a quick start for the Indianapolis Colts at home. Take a look at Peyton Manning going up top, hooking up with, yes, Reggie Wayne. 36 yards of pay dirt. Their first quarter touchdown this season. They're on top 7-0. Back to Kenny, Ryan, and Jay.
There'll be a lot of offense in that game today. Both offenses much better than the opposing defenses. Could be a day like the Vikings. One punt here today for the Vikings.
So the Vikings head to their bye with a record of 2-1. They will travel to Houston in 2 weeks. Bears drop to 1-2 under Lovie Smith. Will host the Eagles next week as Donovan McNabb returns home to Chicago. Thanks to our statistician Elliot Kalb, our spotter Dave Brooks. 2 touchdowns for Randy Moss. Dante Culpepper threw 2. Ran in for another. Vikings win it 27-22. For Brian Baldinger and Jake Glazer, this is Kenny Albert. So long from Minneapolis.
You're watching Fox Sports. Broadcasting in 720p and Dolby 5.1. The world's finest high definition.
And the hits just keep on coming. Hello again, everybody. Welcome into the final word. Urlacher, Brown, Tillman, and now Grossman. Corey McFerrin here along with Tom Waddle.
Minus the fog machine.
Yeah, thank goodness
tonight.
for that. Bears lose a ball game, and more important perhaps, lose their quarterback, Rex Grossman. What appears to be a sprained knee. How long he'll be out, we don't know. There are whispers tonight it could be more serious than a sprained knee, but whatever it is, not good news.
Mommy, make it stop, please. Yeah. All of these injuries have become a nightmare for this team, and you never like to see your young quarterback go down, but especially when he's making strides and he's improving and he's finding his groove. Obviously, Rex's best day as a professional out there, continues to make great decisions, but he threw the football exceptionally well this afternoon. Some nice touch passes out there, gunned it into some tight spots when he had to. Overall, an outstanding afternoon for Rex Grossman. Unfortunately, he gets himself hurt trying to make a play, but you know these young quarterbacks, they think they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof. They try to do too much at times, and they find out they're human.
Absolutely. Let's show you how this one unfolds from the Metrodome today. The Bears looking for a second straight upset victory on the road. They would actually win the possession battle. They would win the turnover battle, but in the end, the Vikings offense just too much to handle. 27-22 Vikings is your final. Brian Urlacher joining 4 other Bears starters on the bench, that re-aggravated hamstring
That's
injury.
not a good thing.
No, not at all. Tommy, how about a takeaway? Wally's the guy.
Yes, and as predicted by Nostradamus earlier this morning, Wally with a big day gets his first sack and his first takeaway. Pretty nice.
Yeah, Bears would hit a couple of field goals, but then Randy Moss doing his magic from Dante Culpepper.
You can't defend that, can you? Unless you're Peanut Tillman.
Now 10-6 at the break. Third quarter, Minnesota now in front 17-6. Michael Haynes crushing Kelly Campbell. Ball loose. Hunter Hillenmeyer scoops it up, hands it off to Lance Briggs. Big play.
Yeah, nice effort from a depleted defense, but you got to turn that into 7 points.
Fourth quarter now 20-9 Minnesota. Hey, how about a Justin Gage?
And how about another talented, gifted number 87 making plays?
Thomas Jones is in, 20-15. 2-point drive fails. More on that in a minute. Vikings respond immediately. Culpepper rolling out. Hits Moss again for the TD.
Too much talent for an injured secondary.
27-15. Then just over 2 minutes to go, Tom. Here it is. Grossman sees some daylight, takes off for the end zone.
Great effort. The kid's got a lot of heart. But once again, it's a tough injury to overcome. This is why this team responds to him, because he's consistently out there trying to make plays.
Jonathan Quinn comes in. Bears take over on their own 10 with 1:36 to go, but it's not to be. Love to have seen what Rex could have done in there.
I agree with that.
That's a ball game. 27-22 Minnesota. Bears fall to 1-2. Vikings improve to 2-1.
We couldn't get off the field. We had a couple big plays and spots, but I think they punted once. You know, you're not going to win a football game when you do that.
We just need to be able to capitalize on the red zone with touchdowns. We were able to put points on with field goals, but it wasn't enough today. It's not going to be enough playing the Vikings or any team right now in the NFL.
Again, here's the picture no Bears fans want to see Rex carted off to the bus. What's next, nobody knows, but there is a sense of confidence about backup QB Jonathan Quinn.
Nobody really knew the extent of his injury. He was holding his hamstring. I thought it was just a pulled muscle. And then saw his dad coming in the hallway, and he said it was a little more serious than that.
Quinn's a good quarterback, he can make plays. He has a great arm. He's smart, and he's been in this offense, so. Like I said, we just have to get behind him and know that he can get the job done and continue to do the same things we've been doing.
All right, our save big money at Menards scoreboard.
Menards!
His most complete game yet, I would suggest. 21 for 31, no picks.
I agree.
Thomas Jones, over 100 yards for the second straight week. He is a keeper in my book.
He is a keeper.
Bobby Wade, the strongest day among the receivers. Individual stats for the Vikings, even more impressive, Tom.
Well, look at these numbers for the Vikings. They are absolutely filthy. Everyone in a purple uniform with a big afternoon. Culpepper, outstanding. Ontario Smith with 94 yards rushing. He added 104 yards receiving, and Randy Moss with 2 touchdown catches. Surprisingly, despite gaining over 440 yards, the Vikings score just 27 points. So once again, for this Bears defense, they bend, but they do not break. Pretty impressive for a group that is missing 5 of their starters. No question about it at all. But, even with a little help from these officials, this game could have been even closer. Yeah. The guys in the striped shirts out there blew a couple of them, including the phantom tip at the line of scrimmage, which should have resulted in a pass interference call, which would have extended this Bears drive. Instead, the drive ends. The Bears punt the football. And the obvious offsides on the 2-point play. Now, how do you not call that? Instead of getting an opportunity to pull within 3, the lead stays at 5. And
how do you miss it to begin with?
How do you miss it? I have no idea. So, again, I'm not blaming this loss on the officials, but at this particular time, between all of the injuries and a couple of the missed calls, just looks like some things are going against our team right now.
Yeah. For more deep thoughts on the game today, we move to the Peanut Gallery, our weekly visit with Bears quarterback Charles Peanut Tillman, sponsored by Hyundai. Peanut joins us live, as always, from the Cubby Bear North in Lincolnshire. There's our guy.
What's up?
We're back. Hey, Peanut, I know you had to stay home, have the broken bone in your leg, and it had to be so hard to sit back and watch as Dante Culpepper goes after the injury-depleted secondary. How did you get through watching the game today?
Well, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I got up until the second quarter and I turned it off. I didn't even watch the rest of the game.
That was it?
It was frustrating to me.
Well,
I seen a couple. I'm looking at the highlights now. It's just a little frustrating to me. I couldn't watch it because I wanted to be out there so bad.
Did you have some tips at all that you might have given to a Nathan Vasher, Todd Johnson, and the other fellows out there about how to play a Randy Moss and this high-powered offensive machine?
Only thing I try to tell them is to go out there and play their game. You know, they're good enough to be at the NFL level. You know, obviously they're good enough to be on this team. And, you know, I just told them to go out there and play. Just have fun. Do like they've been doing to get them to this level right now.
Charles, I'm assuming you were in most of the meetings this week up at Hallis Hall. How did the game plan differ trying to defend this Vikings offense with all of the injuries in the secondary and with Brian Urlacher?
Well, I think anytime you play the Minnesota Vikings, their main thing is, or their main goal is Randy Moss. I think if you take Randy Moss out of the game early, you know, I think the rest of the team gets frustrated. Like last week when they played Philadelphia, Randy Moss, he did an okay job, I think. But I think Philadelphia, their DBs, they had him like double covered, triple covered at times, and Dante Culpepper he didn't have anyone else to throw it to. I think Philadelphia defense did a great job containing Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss, and they just took them two out the game, and the offense fell apart.
When you have so many injuries, though, in the secondary, you do not have the luxury of double and triple covering Randy Moss. What do you do differently to try to slow him down?
You got to reload, man. I hate to say it, but you got to reload. You got Todd Johnson, Nathan Vasher, Todd McMillan. Granted, not it's their first, starts, and they're young. They got to get experience at it, when one of the starters goes down. And that play right there, I think RW was in great position. It was just he lost it with his height. Randy is 6'4", RW's 5'10", 5'11". That's the only way he lost that battle. It was just a height thing. He's got long arms.
It kind of reminded me of last December, a certain play you made, stealing the ball away from Randy. You had to think to yourself, could I have made that play? Did it occur to you? I'm sure it did.
Oh yeah, I thought, I was like, well, man, if I was in there, could I have gotten it? I don't know, but I don't like to consider myself. Well, I would have did this, I would have did that, because that makes like he's not getting the job done. So I'm not gonna say that. But it did come across in my mind like, dang.
Oh yeah.
Could I have gotten that? Probably. I don't know.
Well, it's human nature. Hey, finally, you were kind of downplaying the injury in the locker room this week, but they tell us 7 to 10 weeks. What's your prediction? When will we see you on the field again, do you think?
Like anything, if it's a broken bone in the leg. And the hardest thing about this, my injury is non-weight bearing. I can't put any weight on it. I can stand up fine, but I'm more than sure I can take 2 or 3 steps fine. But I can't put any weight on it, and that's the hardest part right there. And me, I think 7 to 10 weeks is gonna go by quick. That's what I'm praying for. I don't know. I hope I heal quicker than that. But I'm just trying to, stay off of it and do what the doctors say.
Yeah, follow the doctor's orders, whatever you do, okay, Peanut?
All right.
Get well.
All right.
Thanks for your time, big guy.
No problem.
Peanut Tillman watched only the first half today of the game. We're going to take time.
It was hard to watch late in the second half. But with him, you know what? He's a young guy. He's a future Pro Bowler. Take your time, get healthy.
We come back. We need to focus on the pennant race. Baseball. The Cubs have enjoyed better.
The Bears went to Minnesota with a depleted defense decimated by injuries. A horrible health situation got even worse when the key player on offense was carted off the field in the closing minutes of a 27-22 defeat to the Vikings. Quarterback Rex Grossman suffered a sprained right knee, leaving his status for next week's game against Philadelphia in much question. The Bears had to do battle in the Metrodome without Brian Urlacher, not to mention Mike Brown and Peanut Tillman. Urlacher out with that bad hamstring. The Bears missed the middle linebacker speed. Ontario Smith breaking one for 38 yards. Look at the sweet juke moves. He had 198 total yards. Dante Culpepper's TD run made it 17-6 Vikes. In the fourth quarter, the Bears air it out to get back in the game. Grossman up top, 32 yards to Justin Gage to the Minnesota 1. Thomas Jones finishes the drive with his 4th touchdown of the season. 20-15 Minnesota after a failed 2-point conversion. Jones 110 yards rushing. Randy Moss, who caught 7 balls for 119 yards, gives the Vikings some cushion with his 2nd TD catch of the game. Just before the 2-minute warning, though, Grossman scrambles towards the end zone. He fumbles the football, but he gets it across the plane for a TD, but it's costly. Grossman hurts his right knee on the play. It's being called a sprain. Carted off the field for x-rays, but not before Randy Moss shows him a little love. Rex not looking too chipper. The Bears fall to 1-2 on the season with the 27-22 loss to the Vikings, and things could get very ugly with the Eagles swooping into town next week. Peggy Kaczynski has more on today's mishap from the Metrodome in Minneapolis.
Wale Agunlia had his best game as a Bear with 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. It still wasn't enough, though, to stop the Vikings' attack.
If I get sacks and we lose, what does that mean? You know, we got to get these wins. This division, rivals, man, 3 games, 1-2 in the division right now. That's not a good place to be. We got to get better.
I'm feeling good today. It's a big day today, big day today. I feel real good.
But the good was countered with the bad. Big plays given up by the Bears defense. Ontario Smith finished with 198 total yards. Randy Moss, 119 yards receiving. Missed tackles meant too many yards after the catch. The defense was just, no, it just...
We didn't play well. I mean, I didn't make any plays. I mean, I gotta make some plays, and I gotta do better.
And while the 100 penalty yards were ugly, what was worse was 2 of 7 red zone efficiency, the last resulting in the latest injury, a sprained knee to Rex Grossman. Jonathan Quinn is ready to step in and fill in for Rex Grossman if need be next week against Philadelphia. But as the injuries mount up, the Bears are proving there's no substitute for experience. In Minneapolis, Peggy Kaczynski, NBC5 Sports.
That is so true, Peggy. And the Eagles are flying high off to a 3-0 start, their best start in 12 years, after making the previously unbeaten Lions look like lambs today. Chicago homeboy Donovan McNabb threw for 356 yards and 2 touchdowns, one to his favorite new target, Terrell Owens. T.O. with the 29-yard TD. Now, Owens and Moss, they have some competition from young buck Roy Williams in the wideout position. The rookie wideout caught 2 more touchdowns today, had 135 yards receiving. His Lions still lost 30-13. A couple of gunslingers squared off in a shootout in Indianapolis. Peyton Manning and
Bears Game Night Live. I'm Mark Shanowski, along with our expert analyst, former Bears guard Tom Thayer. Thomas Jones and Alex Brown will join us in our next segment. And Tom, the Bears playing today without 5 guys they expected to start on defense. A very good effort today, and then you lose your quarterback late. How do you bounce back from this one?
Well, I think you have to continue giving the effort that they gave today. One of the things I was scared about were the substitutes that were playing for the starters, but it really wasn't what was the reason for they didn't win this game, and it wasn't for a lack of effort. These guys gave an incredible effort in a hostile environment, but things didn't work out. They had some missed tackles on defense, a couple mental errors that led to big plays, and when they got in the red zone, they didn't convert them into touchdowns, which was one of our keys this morning.
Of course, there are a lot of inexperienced guys going on defense, but we knew that was going to happen. And the news from Minneapolis came down about 3 hours before kickoff that Brian Urlacher's tight hamstring would not allow him to play against the Vikings either. The 4-time Pro Bowler joined Mike Brown and Charles Tillman on the list of impact players on the sideline. But the Bears offense stepped up early, already leading 3-0 in the first quarter. Rex Grossman and company were driving for more, but then Grossman fumbles on the hit from behind deep in Minnesota territory. It looked like the Bears would miss a golden opportunity, but Adewale Agunlea gets the ball right back, stripping it from Ontario Smith. The offense couldn't push it into the end zone, but another Paul Edinger field goal made it 6-0. A lot of excitement on the sideline. Minnesota's offense comes to life in the second quarter. Todd McMillan thinks he's got some help behind him, but Todd Johnson is too slow getting over. Kelly Campbell hauls in a big gainer, and that set up a go-ahead touchdown. Dante Culpepper, the fade to Randy Moss. Not much R.W. McQuarters could do on that play. Vikings edge in front 7-6. It was 10-6 Minnesota at halftime. Third quarter action now, and the home team comes out smoking. Urlacher's replacement, Hunter Hillenmeyer, drops deep into coverage, but Culpepper goes over the top for a big gainer to Moss, 44 yards. Then it's Ontario Smith breaking through the line for a big gain. A couple of missed tackles along the way. That set up another touchdown pass from Culpepper to Moss. The Vikings lead grows to 17-6. But then the Bears defense makes a big stand. Michael Haynes reads the reverse and forces a fumble. Hillenmeyer scoops it up and heads the other way. Tom, a very alert play by the defense here.
It was a nice job of getting the ball to Lance Briggs and letting him continue down the field and allowed him to get some extra yards. They needed to get complimented here by a touchdown because it was a big play by the defense that kept them in it at that point.
Now to the fourth quarter, Bears trailing 20-9, and watch this throw by Grossman. Between two defenders, Justin Gage almost stretches it across the goal line. Thomas Jones scored from there to make it 20-15. Bears decide to go for two, hoping to draw within a field goal. Brian Johnson stops short, but hold on a minute. Weren't the Vikings offsides on this play, Tom?
Boy, were they offside. So much so that when on the TV game, they put the flag sign up up where the score is, and it was never called, and they didn't get a second shot.
And this is the play Rex gets hurt on, an all-out effort trying to dive and stretch it across. A replay review showed that he did get the ball across the goal line, but Bear fans more worried about what happened here.
You got to be. I mean, Rex Grossman is the future of this offensive football team, and he's complimented by some great guys around him. But, you know, Rex Grossman this is just a huge setback for the Bears.
So with Grossman out, Jonathan Quinn called on to try to drive the Bears 90 yards with no timeouts in the final 2 minutes. Couldn't get anything going. The sack on fourth down, wrapping up a 27-22 Vikings win. Taking a look at some of the final stats, Minnesota had 350 yards passing against the Bears' revamped secondary. And here's the one that really jumps out. The Bears with 14 penalties for 101 yards. A couple of big calls cost them 5 points in a 5-point loss. Tom, as you mentioned, the crew did not do a good job.
No, this officiating crew was not on the top of their game. And it's the penalties have plagued the Bears the whole preseason. And this is something that is going to be in continued development. They have a lot of young players who they make mistakes time and time again. And unfortunately, it hurts the Bears, especially when you go into what we said is a hostile environment at the at the Metrodome, and you just get behind by some of the big key penalties that hurt you.
Yeah, some of those calls really hurt the Bears, but the players weren't making any excuses afterwards.
You know, I think the guys that filled in for him did a good job, decent job, and that's the way it's going to be this season. Guys are going to have to step up. And when their name's called, they're going to have to go out there and make plays. But I think the guys who stepped in for him did an okay job.
No one wants to play due to injury. That's not the way you want it. And we've have had a lot of injuries this year, and the guys that are behind them just have to step up.
It's tough to have, Rex go down, especially only week 3. But we still gotta be professionals. We still gotta pick the flag up, and then Jonathan's ready to do that. And still we don't even understand the situation. It might just be something minor, and hopefully it is.
Well, let's talk about Rex Grossman's injury. Right now, the Bears are calling it a sprained knee. They're going to have an MRI done tomorrow, but it's pretty safe to assume that Jonathan Quinn is going to take over, at least for the short term.
Yeah, it seems like in football you always expect the worst and hope for the best, and Rex is a young guy who is going to recover with time. You just don't know how long it is. And it's going to change the offense of the Bears. Jonathan Quinn is a different quarterback than Rex Grossman. He doesn't have the athleticism Rex Grossman does, but he has more experience as far as NFL years of experience goes.
And looking at the play, at first it didn't seem like it was anything too serious, but on the plant, obviously something went wrong.
It did. It looked like he caught his foot a little bit on this sports turf that they have up in the Metrodome, and then he continued to lunge over the goal line. So it looked like he tweaked his knee and still had the frame of mind to jump over the goal line and put the ball in the end zone.
So Jonathan Quinn will have to get a crash course on the offense, take over next week against Philadelphia. Well, now it's time for our weekly feature, the Cannon Business Solutions Talk with the Coach. Jeff Joniak in the Bears locker room with Lovie Smith.
Back at the Metrodome with head coach Lovie Smith, and this has to rank as completely frustrating in many different areas. Let's start with the offense first. 7 trips into the red zone. You get 2 touchdowns, but when you compare it to 7 trips, it's probably one of the most aggravating things of the day.
Yes, Jeff, for sure it is. Going into the game, that was one of our goals, to score touchdowns down in the red zone instead of having to try field goals. And early on, we needed to score some. We weren't able to do that.
Heck of an effort on Rex Grossman's part to get into the end zone. The replay showed that it broke the plane, but on that play, sprained right knee. That's what we know now. What is the process now to determine if there's anything more serious or not serious for Rex Grossman?
Well, right now, as you said, that's what it is. What we're going on is it is a sprained knee, but we'll go back, and he'll, X-ray, MRI, whatever we need to do to find out exactly what you know, what the problem is with it. Right now, we just have to hope for the best, and hopefully that it only is that.
Well, like everybody else, plugging with reserves in there. What were some of the byproducts of having to do that today with some of your players?
Well, you know, after a while, you know, it's initially when you start off and you have a couple injuries, it's okay. You have backups to go in. That affects your special teams a little bit. We're to the point now where, you know, our backups are starting and the special teams are affected a little bit, but that's why you have a 53-man squad, and you find out about guys that you don't know by them getting an opportunity to play, and that's where we are.
With that comes some mistakes, and the tackling seemed to be one of the areas where an improvement is necessary for next week against Philadelphia.
Yeah, we need to improve on a lot of areas, really, Jeff. Tackling is a part of it. One of our goals going into this game was to eliminate the big plays, and they were able to hit some big plays. Our guys fought, they hung in there.
And then you've got the good news, and that Thomas Jones had another big all-purpose yardage game. He put up 181 yards running and being your leading receiver, both in receptions and yardage. Now, 3 games into this, it's clear that this guy is going to put up a lot of numbers.
Yes, he's a good football player. He's been that way since day one, and we're pleased with what we're doing with the running game, but we still, though, have to be able to close the deal. And, you know, sometimes if you get caught up in the yard, it's too much. That's not good either. We have to be able to get the ball in the end zone some kind of way.
And then get it easier, man. They hit you with Culpepper, Favre, and now Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
That's Lovie Smith here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot, and our thanks to Coach Lovie Smith. Coming up next, we bring in our 2 player guests, Alex Brown and Thomas Jones. Thomas had another big game against the Vikings with 181 yards combined rushing and receiving. He'll join us in just a couple minutes. The Bears Game Night Live, our pleasure to welcome in running back Thomas Jones, defensive end Alex Brown. Let's start with Thomas. A great game again today against the Vikings. 110 yards rushing. You had 71 yards more in receiving. Talk about the play of the offensive line to clear some holes for you.
I mean, our offensive line, they've done a really good job ever since we came into training camp, and you know, they're older guys, you know, the majority of them, and they have a lot of experience, and they love to block, you know. Any running back in the NFL would love to run behind, you know, guys like this, but you know, definitely our offensive line is a big part of my production, and it's also a big part of, you know, Rex's production, you know, up until now as far as pass protection too.
Tom loves to hear the compliments for the offensive line.
You know, I do. But, you know, 152 yards rushing last week, Green Bay, 110 yards rushing today, 71 yards receiving. I don't want to talk about that. I'm impressed with your blocking. When I see you attack defensive ends and linebackers, does that come from college? Does it come from coaching in the pros? Or is it just something that you have the innate ability to take on a big guy as a running back?
Well, me in college, you know, we had some of the same concepts that we have here, you know, in this offense. And, you know, my running backs coach in college just made sure that we were complete running backs, you know, because being a complete running back, you have to be able to block, catch, and run. And, you know, I just try to keep that same mentality here in the NFL. So, you know, definitely coaching has been a big part of, you know, me just trying to be a complete back and making sure I know how to block and know who to block. And, you know, that way you can stay in the game the whole time.
That's the best thing about it is you're a 3-down back. Similar to Walter Payton when he was here, he can run, he can block, and he can catch, just like you're doing now.
Yeah, it just, you know, it just helps when you can stay in the game. And, you know, sometimes, you know, if you have to come out on 3rd downs, you know, and you kind of give away a certain situation for your offense. But, you know, when you're able to block and you can stay in the whole time and protect the quarterback on 3rd downs, that definitely, I think that's an asset to the team.
Let's talk some defense now. The Bears came up with 3 sacks against Dante Culpepper, but he still completed 19 of 30 for 360 yards. Alex, it looked like you had things going your way early in the game. Adewale had a couple of sacks, and it looked like they were out of sorts for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple guys played well. I mean, I think Ian came in and played well. He wasn't playing last week. I thought Ogun, he picked it up a lot. And Michael, I mean, he didn't get many plays, and he's going to have to get more because it seems like as soon as he goes out there, he makes something happen. So, I mean, I really got to pick my game up to help us out. I mean, I don't think I played very well today, but it's going to come.
If you have 100% of your defense in, which I don't know if you do, but when you have Hunter Hillenmeyer and you have Joe Odom and you have Marcus Reese and Ian Scott and all the interchangeable bodies, including the defensive backs, is 100% of this defense in, or is there still fronts and different defenses to come later in the year?
Well, I think there's, I don't know if too many positions on our defense that you can say, I mean, the starters are starters for a reason. and they bring something. Like Urlacher, he brings something else that Hunter doesn't have. I mean, Hunter's great. I love Hunter, and he does his best out there. But I mean, if we have Urlacher, if we have Mike Brown or Tillman, yeah, it'll be good. But we can't sit back and make excuses because sometimes they're not going to be there. And whoever's not there, the people that got to come in, they got to come in and play well, and we'll be okay.
Right. It certainly wasn't a lack of effort today. No. There were some tackles that were missing, maybe some mental errors, but the effort was there.
Yeah. Let's talk about the injury to Rex Grossman. Obviously, the quarterback is your leader. Thomas, Rex had one of his best games as a pro today, and then you see him go down. How does that affect the whole confidence level of the team now as you look ahead to the Eagles game?
It's tough. Anytime you lose, your quarterback, starting quarterback, because that's the guy that we've been working with ever since we started minicamp and OTAs. So it's tough to lose your starting quarterback, but in the NFL you have to have a short memory, and you have to look to the next guy. Right now it's Jonathan Quinn, and we all have to rally behind him and have confidence in him, know that he can go out there and get the job done.
Alex, Rex is your buddy from Florida days. He's a real leader, a real presence on this team. What were your thoughts when you saw him getting carted off this afternoon?
When I saw him laying there, I thought it was something different, but I was hoping that it was just he'd jump up and he'd be all right. But I remember when they brought the cart out for Mike Brown, and it's something serious when the cart comes out. So, and then when I came off the field after the game, I saw his parents, and I could just look at him and tell it wasn't good. So it hurts, it hurts personally as well as for the team, because we need him.
But you got 13 more games left. Everyone has to rally behind Jonathan Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
I know the team has a lot of fight, and you get a bye week after the Eagles game, which should help everybody. Well, coming up next, it's our exclusive game night feature, The Sounds of the Game. Today, it's R.W. McQuarters mic'd up for his duel against Randy Moss.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We got some more to come. Stay tuned.
Bear booth this afternoon with Jeff Joniak, Tom, and Hub Arkish on the call. Now it's time to take you right down on the field with our special feature, The Sounds of the Game.
It's a little quiet in here. They need to turn that music up.
In order to win this game, we're going to have to play this at a level that they are unwilling or unable to match. Unwilling because we're too damn good. We work too hard.
Let's do it. Then you bring in Train. And then you bring in Train.
Play it all day. It's ours today.
Hey! Hey, first play that came out, I back. That was coming with the bubble screen. Look, he got the ball.
Oh, no.
Come on, he got the ball.
Hit the ball.
Oh, come on, you ain't gotta act like that. Come on, we having fun now. Come, that's something. Smile a little bit. It's good for the soul. We know the man on the ball gonna run a deeper route. Hey, if they put Moss wide and we in cover one, I'm gonna play hard outside and go get it. Yeah, I gotta stop being so aggressive, man.
Trying to help you.
What do, boy?
No, please.
Oh, you saw him. See, when we saw spray out formation, we should have checked out of that. He ain't with me over here. That's universal. I said that's universal.
Always intense down on the field. Things almost boiled over in the fourth quarter. Alex, what was going on with that little pushing and shoving out there?
I don't know what was going on over there. I think RW got a little heated over there, so just got a little angry. Sometimes you got to get it out.
Thomas, did you hear a lot of trash talking today, or not too much?
Yeah, it was a pretty intense game. A lot of the defensive backs were talking. And it's part of the game. It kind of gets you excited. Sometimes the game, it doesn't get boring, but sometimes when a guy says something to you, it kind of gets you ready for the next play. So they were definitely talking to me.
The guy that blows the horn and rides it on the motorcycle, that's Tom's cousin.
Yeah, you can tell by the hairline.
I thought you were going to take him out before the game.
I'd like to. Every once in a while you hear that horn blow every first down. You know,
it was
it's not
nice though when
sound.
the Bears were up 6-0, took that crowd out of the game. They never really got back into it. I think the early drives really helped.
Yeah, I think both teams were pretty intense because there was a lot of after special team getting at it going on. A lot of fists going around, a lot of fights, a lot of pushing and shoving.
And the Vikings have to come back here, so we'll look forward to that. Coming up next, we'll take a look ahead to next week's game against the Eagles. Also get some final thoughts from our guests on Bears Game Night Live.
Lance Briggs, Chicago Bears. You're watching Game Night Live.
Bears Game Night.
Our job, we got to do it with the people we have. We just continue to work like we are, and it's going to start happening for us.
And Thomas, you've had 2 great games in a row. I'm sure you're going to want to run it right at that Eagles defense if you can.
Yeah, we're just going to watch the film, see the good things that we did from this game and the bad things, and just try to make sure that we correct some of the things that we did really, especially in the red zone.
And if you want to get Tom's keys to the game, you have to watch Game Day Live next week. We're flat out of time. We want to thank Tom Thayer, Alex Brown, and Thomas Jones for joining us. We'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Bears Game Night Live